Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ETF2L Season 31 final between Se7en and Ascent.EU. My name is Grumpy Koi, and a little bit things are going to be done kind of differently. So we actually have an analyst with your boys, eepily and DmMmTm, and then we have our main caster duo of Ombrack and Beta. And right now, I'm kind of hosting the analysis desk, so I'm going to introduce eepily and Dum, and we are going to start talking to you about games and stuff. So, eepily, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm pretty excited. We've been talking about some stuff before. The stream went live and discussing different notes. I've got about 50 pages of notes. We've been getting like proper micro. We've been getting like granular with these notes, and I think we definitely got some interesting stuff to talk about because this is the game, and for best of five as well. Like, I think it's gonna be so good to watch.
Yep, and DmMmTm?
Yeah, looking forward to this game, even finale, and it should be a great one. Both games, Se7en and Ascent had so far were pretty close for the most part, so I'm looking forward to hopefully as many maps as this evening allows today.
Okay, so we're going to be basically running through, we're going to be constantly getting updates on the map picks and everything like that, but right now I just want to kind of open it to the room, both yourselves, DmMmTm and eepily. What's your initial thoughts on this matchup? Because there's been quite a lead up to this. These guys have played against each other twice. The first time the teams actually came off with a map apiece, and the second time it was 2 maps to 7. So what are your thoughts coming into this?
It should be really close, but I feel like Se7en, regardless of coming from the upper bracket or not, will have the advantage. They looked a bit more consistent over the course of the season, have a few less weaknesses. They're a really well-balanced team. Ascent want to play a bit more aggressive if they can help it, and sometimes it holds them back just a bit, and that's where Se7en needs to strike if they want to pick them apart. So Se7en has the advantage. I think we discussed this a little bit before we went live, like how our odds are. I said about 60-40, maybe a little bit more to Se7en is how I would give this, maybe 65-35 if I were to like gamble on this in theory, and it's gonna be close, and a lot of it still comes down to the maps, I think.
And eepily?
I think exactly what you said. Like, context is really important. So, like I just said, so week 5 they played each other. They did like a map apiece basically. So did win Snakewater, Se7en won Sunshine, slightly more dominating. Snakewater was like super close. So in terms of over the course of the main season, they were looking pretty close. We then saw those upper bracket finals really recently. Se7en taking Viac 3-1, and then just about winning Gullywash. Was 100% correct. Map picks are going to be so important here because you have some really clear strengths and weaknesses in terms of the map pool. I think ultimately a lot of this is going to come down to is like, so it's a best of 5. You're playing 5 out of the 7 maps here. All about who's got the deeper map pool. And I think ultimately the main advantage Se7en has is just a deeper, more consistent map pool than Ascent has.
Yeah, I think we discussed this before and talked about which maps would favor which team if it comes down to that in the map picking. And Product was one we all thought would be in Ascent's favor if it would come down to it. But Se7en has shown that they, at least this once, were superior on it. Regardless of if it was a one-time only thing or not, it's going to be in both teams' minds going forward here, which will definitely affect map picking. Gullywash is a map that Se7en traditionally really likes. They always say it's one of their best maps, but Ascent is in a similar boat there, which led to really close games, leading into a golden cap in the upper bracket finals. So that is not as much of a given pick as we might have anticipated until last week. And it's pretty weird that all of that happens in the span of the upper bracket final. That could potentially completely screw over map picking here with what might just be flukes in the end. And in terms of safe map picks, I think Se7en, like I said, has deeper map pool. They have like these older maps are always heavily in the favor where they can just slow things down if they need to. They have really strong mid fights. We talked about Badlands, Granary, and stuff like that. Sunshine as well as a new example is one of the maps they like a lot. And like you mentioned eepily earlier on as well before we went live, is that due to teams dying, Ascent completely avoided having to play Badlands this season outside of scrims. So they probably lack a bit of experience here on that map as well.
Yeah, it's super weird. I don't think this has happened at any time in the last however many seasons. Just one team literally not playing a map for an entire season, just because of the picks and playoffs and because of the fellowship and Nunya dying at various points throughout the season. Literally, we have not seen them play a single official on Badlands. little bit interesting to see, for extra spicy bit of context. Both teams have been warming up on Badlands today, so I would imagine we're going to see it, but it really is quite an unknown quantity. You would suggest Se7en is going to be a little bit more solid in terms of, they've been together as a team a lot longer. They've got some players which historically have been really, really good at that map, but I don't know. It's always possible that Ascent just might bring something out the bag.
One thing I just...
Oh, you go on.
Yeah, no worries. One thing I just actually want to touch on that is we mentioned the product game, and one thing I'd like to say is actually about Domo. We will get into kind of the key players of all the teams, which is all 6 of them, fantastic for both teams. But I feel like Domo in the upper bracket final had finally fully slotted into Se7en, and that's kind of what changed things up. So going into this, I feel like it's going to be a place for Ascent where they're kind of not 100% sure where they're going to be looking at for their ban. We said before that usually they'd be kind of pushing for product. It would be our mentality, but considering their result on the upper bracket final, I mentioned that we might see a product ban actually come out of Ascent themselves. So it's really interesting that the little bits of dynamic changes that's happened in Se7en will affect this a lot in this grand final.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of which, Domo had a bit of trouble in a few maps here and there over the season, but over the course of the season, they eventually had Cadus step in effectively as his old coach role we've seen a few years ago from him, and he's constantly been with them in the team despite not playing. So they have this 7th man, maybe not in the calling style they had before, but they still have him with him, and that certainly will also help, like you mentioned, Domo adjust to the team, especially both of them being Domo, so the advice can be just perfectly applied to the same cluster.
For map bans, I know we're obviously going to spend some time going over that properly, but what you're just saying in terms of maybe Ascent, which theoretically Ascent should be not Viaduct. We did see an incredibly close game between Ascent and Swift on Viaduct. I think it was week 3 or 4, I believe it was, and it was a super interesting game to watch. Really super fast paced, but they only narrowly beat Swift on that map. And as much as Swift are really solid team, like they got some incredibly good players, they're not the same kind of situation as Se7en. And I think really going into things, I don't think Ascent can afford to ban Viaduct really, considering some of the other maps. Se7en is just playing better. I would imagine really Ascent fan is going to go for Sunshine more than anything. But it's such a difficult map from Ascent to actually consistently be able to win unless they're just hitting all of their shots.
It is very interesting. But actually, shall we just quickly run through who the people we're talking about, just in case that anyone's been sitting under a rock, and we just run through the team. So I'll let you just talk about the roster that Se7en have, and then we'll just talk into those players, and then we'll move on to Ascent. So if you want to just run us through them.
All right. For Se7en, the medic will be Raymond. The pocket soldier is Captain. Roaming soldier will be Starkey. Demoman we talked about is Domo, and the scout duo is Flash and Tiger.
So yeah, moving on that team. So it's kind of an all-star team. I think me and Beta mentioned this earlier, but it was like when they signed up for the season with that roster, I was like, there's no one that could touch them. I felt like it was such a strong roster, even before Domo got added. And like coming into this, it does feel like the Giants can be touched now with this Ascent roster, which we will go into. But Se7en, they've got like captains made his return this season. Starkey's now decided to go onto Roma, and he's done a really good job in that. You've got Tiger and Thalash, who are incredible scouts. And then you've got Domo and Raymond pulling it back. Raymond coming back as well. And then Domo being the latest addition to the team. And they've just started to work so well together. Just everything kind of clicks now.
Yeah, when they are allowed to play in autopilot, basically, in the style we've seen them for years, then it's going to be dangerous. Ascent needs to put stops to that. They need to put difficult decisions in front of them to really make stuff harder for them, to not let them just do whatever they want, be it on midfights or on last. And on both of those situations, Se7en will just constantly try to put pressure on, try to get space for as free as possible without taking any risks. And as Ascent needs, as much as they need to have strong pushes, which is what they try to do most of the season, they need strong holds. And that's what the practice against Feint last week as well, I feel like could be really crucial, because Feint made them play incredibly slow, and that could be important going forward.
I think going into this, you've got, I think it isn't everything, but I think it's going to be fairly significant that you've got Drac and you've got AMS on the side of Ascent. They've played with Se7en, they understand the playstyle, they understand specific holds, specific pushes, all of those kind of real specific details. And I think there's really no reason why Ascent shouldn't be able to contest basically everything seeing from Se7en, because as much as this version of Se7en has an absolutely, like, it's a proper like star-studded roster, fantastic, but they're not that same, not perfect, but that really established, like, super solid, everything's just, like, it's like trying to fight against a brick wall kind of playstyle. We're not seeing them play as perfect as we've seen them play in previous iterations. So I think there are still enough weaknesses from Ascent, and really, I feel like in some of the games where we've seen Ascent play Se7en, it's been more some mistakes from Ascent which have been kind of throwing away the win for them. It hasn't been Se7en playing so perfect there's nothing Ascent can do. It's just Ascent making a few little mistakes, which just about means, okay, they'll lose an advantage here and there. Se7en can continue to slow it down, and then before you know it, the time's run out. I think it's significant enough that you've got these players, and the Se7en is so kind of established by now that I think there is still a lot of opportunities today to pick enough to try and convert some rounds.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned them, eepily, if you just want to run us through the roster as well, and then we'll start talking about some, just basically some matchups between the two teams with their roster, and then we'll go on to the pick bans as well. So, yeah, actually, what would be a good idea is I'll actually do that. I'm going to take control for a moment. So, Ascent, they have your boy AMS and Credu on their scouts. They have Drac and Silentes on soldiers. And finally, they've got Elikor, the DM god. I love watching Elikor play. And Connor riding up that roster on med. It's such a, like, wouldn't you agree with me, Dom? That's a killer roster as well. That's kind of the thing about this grand final, is these are really good teams.
Yeah, obviously, otherwise they wouldn't be here. And for Ascent, it's a different journey. Obviously, we talked about how much experience Se7en has with each other, but Ascent, not so much. They just formed for this season. Sure, some people played with each other before in some capacity, also known as Sauna Slayers a few years back, basically, is how this started. And it's a huge improvement over the course of the season. They had a lot of trouble with just cohesion and being on the same page, and they still do every once in a while in the calls, but it's so much better now. The coordination, especially between the soldiers, I think is some of the best that it even rivals a soldier do as veteran as Captain and Stark. It's really incredible how quickly that worked out between Drac and Silentes, and it's just gonna come down to how well they can play off each other compared to a team that played so much longer with each other.
Yeah, but it's like if you match up the teams against each other, we've got really interesting matchups, like Drac, the old roamer for Se7en, going against Starkey, and those guys playing a very different style. Starkey's a bit crazy, is the best way I can describe him, because he really likes abusing his experience on jump maps and things like that. That sometimes I've seen him, especially on the Snakewater match, when I think it was exactly when the actual beater's feed broke, is he did a really beautiful skip jump through Saw and went straight onto the med, and he likes to do things like that. They both like breaking the game and wall hanging as well. We see that a lot, floating in midair. But both Starkey and Drac have a very different playstyle, and Drac's very, very concise in his decisions. We all know him for his classic holding big door on Gully. We know that he's very good at watching what he needs to do and making sure that he's always in a good position. However, Starkey, I think, likes to throw a bit of spanner in the works. He can be that reformed, tight Se7en style roamer, but he has that little flair as well where he just goes off on one.
It's kind of interesting how both of the roamers are pretty much like the odd ones out in terms of pacing and stuff like that for the teams compared to each other. Like you said, Stark's the playmaker, was always on scout for Se7en in the past as well, and I think Cadus himself described it as like everybody has the set gameplay, knows what they're doing, know how they need to hold, and then Stark is able to do whatever he wants to do for the team, and it doesn't even matter if he dies or not because they have these. On Roma, it's a bit different just because it's a different class, but you're still on the flank, you're still a playmaker class, so it still applies for the most part. And like you said, Drag from that previous team as well, from the old 7 with Stark on Scout, is just this consistent rock that people have to get past to make any sort of plays happen in the first place that just contrast each other in a really interesting way. And for a team like Ascent that wants to play as aggressive as that is, having this one consistent, like really strong defensive player is going to be hugely important to not just get outplayed on the flank all the time.
And then you've got like the matchup between Elikor and Domo, for example, which is again kind of got that the like Domo is still a very aggressive Domo, but he's kind of fits with his team as he's not quite the level that we see Elikor going. But we will be getting the map soon. I've just had a confirmation. Actually, just before that, eepily, are you with us now? Are you?
I should, hopefully, yeah.
And do you want to chime
A
in?
bit of tech problems. Yeah, Justin. So, in terms of matchups, I think DmMmTm's covered most of the kind of key bases. You've got fairly comparative players in a lot of roles, as much as playstyles might be different. Mechanically speaking, almost every single player can match up with each other. Like Thas and Tiger, incredible scouts, but Ams and Kredu just as incredible. Like from a DM point of view, from like a decision-making point of view, I think the real difference is going to come down to playstyle and team cohesion, as opposed to just one team having like stronger players.
Ooh, I just got word we have the maps ready now. So what we talk about those instead. Alright, first one we already theorized as much, given from what we've seen in previous scrims going into this today, is Badlands, unsurprisingly.
I think it makes sense. I mean, like, so Se7en gets 2 picks to begin with, so we're going like they're the ones picking Badlands here. I think 100% makes sense. It's something they're comfortable with. It's something we haven't really seen Ascent play, so it's a little bit of a wild card in terms of maybe Ascent has something absolutely crazy, but realistically speaking, I would imagine Se7en going into this. I think it's more interesting the fact that they didn't pick something like Sunshine or even perhaps Granite or something. The fact they're so confident with Badlands, even though we've not seen them play a great deal either, is I think quite interesting. But I think it's I don't think it's clear cut, but I think it's gonna lead us to quite an interesting start.
And secondly, bit of a surprise because like seasons before you'd never expect this, but Se7en actually pick Viaduct as their second map. Not too surprising with the matchup they've got, but it's been very, very common of Se7en to actually ban that one out.
Yeah, until last week I would have been surprised by that, but at the moment it seems like a strong choice for them. It was like between Viaduct and like Sunshine and stuff like that, so it makes sense. It entirely depends on how much Ascent is feeding the DM today. If Kredu is just having an insane sniper day again, like he often does, but not quite always. And it just really comes down to that. If they can shut down Flash, and especially Tiger as well, and all of that will be hugely important. Just a huge DM fight constantly will ensue on that map. So the better you hit your shots together as well will make a huge difference.
Yep, and alongside that, we've actually got a ban from Ascent, which is Sunshine. So yourself and eepily mentioned this before, that you guys were feeling like that would probably be the map that was banned, and it has been banned, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, me neither. It's, again, this kind of oddball pick there a bit. It was not too... It was one of the lesser close maps they played against each other before in week, whatever it was, 5 or something. So, given how little Ascent has to work with in terms of pick bans, it makes sense. If Se7en didn't pick Viaduct early, product even, it might have been a ban if they didn't feel it, but now we won't find out. It would come down between Sunshine and product at that point, I think. So that makes perfect sense in my opinion.
And so actually we've got another ban just come through. So Se7en have actually banned Process. So I haven't seen they haven't matched up on Process yet, have they? Or have they?
I don't think so, and it's a bit surprising because Process is pretty much like the neutral map of TF2. Everybody plays it all the time. Everybody has lots of experience in it. It can be fast, it can be really slow, just depending on how both teams play. We've seen last week Ascent Feint was really slow, but it can easily go the other way. And Se7en banning that just seems to me that they, more so than any other map, don't want to give Ascent this sort of neutral ground where they are really close. And we talked about other maps before that Se7en would let through because of that, and by the looks of it, Ascent will be able to pick Gullywash, which seems to be one of the strongest maps. Se7en certainly know that, given how the games have been going on that so far, but it seems like they prefer Gully more so themselves than they are scared of Ascent's ability on it.
Yes.
Otherwise, I couldn't explain this otherwise, because Process is just this neutral ground. Gully a little bit, but with these two teams, they're incredibly strong at it. I expected Se7en to ban Gullywash, honestly, how it went so far, and just default to Process with that, but that's a bit surprising.
I can't see the other map pick or ban, so can you just call it out for me?
It is Se7en picking Snakewater of all things. Pretty much.
Is that
nothing.
The final? No.
No, that's the second last map. That's the fourth map. Se7en picks Snake, which is really surprising given that they historically don't like it. They still don't do for the most part. They had a tough time on it in lots and lots of scrims against Ascent, especially the last hold. So that seems to be an odd pick for me. And Grand Decider is just what's left, and Se7en likes it. And at that point, they just basically have 2 picks in a row that they can just do whatever they want with, as bad as the order. So I'm surprised we both see Gully and Snake being played of all things.
Okay. Well, now we've got our maps. So just to run you through, the maps are Badlands, Viaduct, and then we have, I have to read through this, Gully, Snake, and then Granary. So you've got your 5 maps. We know what's going on. I just want a quick first map prediction from you, Dum, and then we're going to throw it to our casters.
This is going to be a tough one because it's Badlands of all things. This could go in any pace they wanted to. I'm going to make the conservative guess and say 2-0-7. It's going to be a slow game. Let's see how that goes. Okay,
so you're going to say 2-0-7. I'm going to say it's going to be a 3-2-7. I feel like Ascent will be able to put some real work in there. So what we'll do is right now, just because we might as well pass it over to your lovely casters. So I'm going to introduce them. We have Ombrack and Beta as our casters. We're going to step out as the analyst desk, and they're going to run you through. And I think we're going to be starting very, very shortly. So I'm going to pass you over to Ombrack and Beta.
Yes, that's us. Hi, I'm Ombrack. Hi, Beta. How are you doing? Are you excited?
Oh, I'm so excited. This is the third grand final that I've casted in like 5 days, and this is going to be the best one by far. I can feel it. It's obviously the one I know the most about, and these two teams have looked absolutely fantastic, and not even have they looked really good, they've also looked to be really evenly matched in a lot of their matches. I'd say Se7en is like a slight favorite, but if you just look at the results, it's very even. But of course, Se7en did beat Ascent in the semi-final, so they have the map pick advantage going into this, but they will not have any map advantage. So in that sense, it's pretty even, but they just got to pick more maps. But yeah, this is going to be so good, and I can't wait to get started.
Yeah, and so I think you mentioned how Ascent lost to Se7en on the semi-finals. I think the only times Ascent lost this season was to Se7en, so they have some...
They lost the map to Swift on the very first one.
It was not a full game, and
no.
The only full games they've lost are against Se7en. So they may be a bit, they have the spirit of revenge. They want to take it back. If there's one game to win, it's just this one. You don't care about losing the other one as long as you're winning the ultimate game, which is going to be this one. So we are. Lovely analyst mentioned pretty much what we are going to deal with tonight, how the teams match up against each other. Do you have any feelings, any prediction about how it's going to go down between these two teams on the first map, maybe before we go in?
I have both feelings and predictions for you. So my feeling is like I'm kind of rooting for Ascent because they're a bit of the underdog story. Se7en is just this complete tyranny of just excellence, right? They're just the ivory tower that have just been ruling TF2 in Europe for so long. So in that sense, I'm kind of rooting for Ascent. But I actually also predict that Se7en will win this. I think it's going to be pretty close. I think Ascent's definitely going to take a map, but I think Se7en will end up winning it just because they have that map advantage. So they get to play a couple of maps that they want to play, and that could really be the deciding factor. So I'm going to start out by predicting that on Badlands, they're going to I think Se7en's going to win maybe like 4-2 or something like that. But what are your predictions and feelings?
I think the same. Pretty much Se7en has actually a big edge because if people remember correctly, before you had the map edge going to the finals, but map X is pretty big deal as well, and I think we're gonna see that here on the first map. I think Se7en is gonna care. But here we are, season 31 grand finals, everyone. This is Ascent.EU against Se7en. These two teams have made their way to the top, and now they're gonna fight against each other to decide who's gonna be your winner. And this is the first middle of this series, a best of 5 series. We could already see the double bomb from the Ascent is trying to damage on Raymond and Talash, but really no frag is happening. Look at that aggression from Ascent. They're just walking under the point trying to take ground, but they're getting by rockets and Scattergun's bullet, and they need maybe the aggression again from Ams trying to win the bomb from it. Blackwood trying to get damage again. Raymond just jukes everything. He stays alive, and that's an almost complete perfect middle because only Starkey died here, and Se7en takes that first middle pretty convincingly.
And not only that, Starkey actually, you know, he died, but he also got the medic. I'm pretty sure that was him. So really good mid there. Everyone just bombed into the valley, and they couldn't quite get the medics. It was really weird. Like, the soldier was just out of rockets, and they couldn't quite get to anyone. So Se7en won that middle without ever leaving the valley. Once they got up onto middle, they had already killed everyone. So a bit of a weird middle there, but you can't fault Ascent for going all in on that one. The medic was down, so everyone
and
was
now
just
the
going to
Uber is
suicide
being used
down.
on the left, on to Talash and Captain. The Sentry and the Pyro do a great job at denying the Uber, but the Sentry gun is finally taken down, and now S7 is trying to take space here. The bomb from Silentes does damage, but don't really quite get it. Talash almost catches it, and Tiger gets it in the end. That's pretty much a Halley hoop, just what we've seen. Talash getting the cap almost done, and then Tiger just slipping in and taking it in. And that was a very quick run here, Peter, for Se7en.
When you win that kind of decisive mid, it's very easy to roll all the way back to last, and Lens especially. Mid fights are extremely important because of how quickly last caps and how difficult it can be to push out for that reason. So this time around, they just pushed in, got a bunch of cap time on it, and eventually it just slips up there.
Second middle now unraveling in front of our eyes. Starkey tried to go for a decoy bomb, trying to draw some attention to him, but didn't really work out. And I see Drag as well trying to do his own bomb of his own. He's trying to go onto Domo, but Domo pipes him and doesn't leave. He strafes away, lifts this. There's a lot of ground control here for Ascent. Se7en, they're all choked up into that valley and they're leaving. They maybe expected the same kind of middle here, and but in the end Raymond lives. Oh, medic died here, so it's kind of an even situation. And Ascent looked like that submarine middle was a bit of a risky move, and now they went for something more conservative, and it worked better for them in the end.
A very smart way to just adapt to that middle. They did still send in the soldiers. They just kind of waited a little bit, and they didn't go in as deep before, so they didn't die as quickly. And that just meant that Se7en's really passive stance, just waiting to punish them, actually got punished itself. Because once all the fights were over, the man advantage was the same. Like, they both lost 2 players, but Ascent was just all standing on the high ground. So now we're in a stalemate situation where we have them holding choke. And this is a super classic situation. We've seen at LAN sometimes this just stalemates out forever, but so far this season, Se7en have actually been really good at punishing players, and now we're going to get the jump in here. Immediately gets air piped by Domo, and Raymond will surf away. Nice job there. And that was their plan. And now it's going to come in from Stark as well. Gets one nice rocket, but another good surf and cleanup as well.
Yeah, you mentioned how we've seen this situation before, whether online or on LAN. I can recall vividly a game from Se7en at Rewind, the first Rewind, where there was a 0-0 30 minutes maps on Badlands, and someone was just jumping on Raymond in this exact same location, but nothing was working, so maybe we're gonna see that. I don't know how they want to break it. I see Kratos trying to make space maybe on Valley. Oh, he gets him, Silentes! It gets 2 rockets on Raymond, and this is it, the first drop of this series. Really well played here from Silentes, but I can't help to think that maybe there was some kind of misjudgment here. But in the end, that's it. That's a drop. The first hold is broken by Silentes, but weirdly enough, Ascent is already working in. They're trying to bait Am's fell to that, and they're just sitting on middle. Even though Raymond died, maybe they were waiting for the bomb to come in, and now they're probably gonna make their way into that choke. I can see Elafor and Drac trying to go onto that choke. That's actually Silentes, and trying to take space. We can see everyone from Se7en on that left balcony. Only Starkey is playing on the flank, trying to watch out for that push on the flank, maybe from Drac, and Ascent making their way cautiously through that trash area. But Raymond already has 50% of his Uber. Se7en completely giving up on that second point, and the Talash already has a level 3 sentry gun. They're not wasting any time to get a hold onto their last point, and that drop pretty much gave the second point to Ascent, but they don't quite can get it to last. And look at that defense, look at that hold, a pyro, a heavy, and a gun.
They might have been too slow there. It was a good job by Se7en. They retreated and just defended Spire with the demo man, and that actually just delayed everyone. They were also pretty aggressive in choke. They tried to get in there, but Ascent was really good at just protecting Connor, so they never actually got in there to do anything with him. But Se7en just holding in here, so the sword is going to come in. It's Drac. It's not going to find success this time around, so actually Credo and Drac going down there, that's going to definitely allow Se7en to try and make some plays on their own. But just Se7en's delay tactics there just saved them from being Ubered upon with an Uber disadvantage. So just using the demo man to spam out Spire, and once they felt like they had bought enough time, they just backed off and didn't take any chances. So just classic textbook Se7en play here. So now we have Credo going up on Sniper. You know, I'm pretty excited to see Credo on Sniper. He's been absolutely incredible throughout the entire season, and he's going to be very scary to deal with. And once the point caps this fast again, you can jump players onto the point, and if you like jump 2 players on there, people have to drop down, and then you can begin to snipe.
Yeah, and we can see Domo also on the lock and load, so it's a full defense mode right now for Se7en. And even when Credo and Drac died, Talash kept that NG going, and they were not ready to push out ahead. There's still so much time, they don't have to take any risk right now. They're still winning, and this is where Se7en is actually extremely good. When they have an early lead, they can pretty much dictate the pace of the game, and this is what they're doing right now. Ascent now has to wait for that hero shot from Credo. He's picking here onto top left. He's in lobby trying to see if someone is going to be greedy enough to pick, but nobody is actually showing himself, so Credo will probably have to switch a line pretty quickly while Drac is on Toxic trying to spam the gun. But yeah, this is a really hard hole to break. Yes, you mentioned the cap time that has been reduced to 1 second. It's really hard to take, but when you have such a strong hold already planned out, Starkey is the only one watching that left side, so maybe he's going to get pushed at some point, Peter. But right now, I can't see how Ascent is going to break this.
There's definitely a lot of different opportunities. You can obviously go bottom right, where you take the double soldier spam and you just try to spam people out. You can actually also send the sniper in bottom left. It's a pretty sneaky play. There's actually a really nice sight line almost all the way up over onto the point, so you can actually pick people off. And of course you can just do point shenanigans also on this map. So you send in scouts, maybe you send in a roamer, and then you send your demo man back to switch to the quickie bomb, so you get things off of there. So far, they really want to get rid of this sentry gun, because that is denying a lot of these plans. That will have a lot of knockback. It's very difficult to jump onto the point for a soldier if there's a sentry gun. So they're trying to get rid of that, but the pyro from is a Tiger is just reflecting everything right now. It's so annoying to deal with, and they're actually getting some damage onto the sentry gun, but still no cigar quite yet. And Credo has still yet to find a good angle here, but he is still hiding around in Toxic, trying his best, but so far being denied by everything from flames to rockets.
And some people maybe don't know that, but I think some people expect Ascent to be an extremely impatient team, as Silent died to combine spam from Se7en. But yes, Ams doesn't really like to wait, but he knows when he has to do it, and when the stakes are this high, this big, Ams is going to do his best to, take his time. We saw a bomb from Starkey, but to no avail. Connor was unscathed here. He didn't took any single point of damage, and again, this is up to Credo to do anything. Silentis died, and maybe it was the time to get someone back to spawn and try to get another class going, but I guess Ascent is not really quite that desperate. It's still 6 minutes. Drac is trying to make his way, and he forced his Uber! He went bottom left and managed to get it because Starkey was dead. Really nice read here from Drac. He knew that Starkey being dead, nobody was watching bottom right, so he just made his way through the class, and with one nice rocket, Raymond had no other choice but to use that Uber. And this is maybe decisive here for Ascent, because they're going to wait for Drac to come back. Credo being sniper now isn't really helping them. This is why he's going all the way back to middle to switch class. Really nice decision making here from Credo, and we're going to see what push Ams and Ascent decides to make here, because there's still a gun, there's still the pyro, there's still the, how does it called, that's pipe launcher that push you back, and now the Uber is being used on top right onto Tiger dives. The pyro, no pyro, the gun is gonna shut it down. He's there. So everybody's hiding in spawn, And Talash has some crits as well. Can he do anything with that? Captain was on the ring, but he got completely wasted. Raymond died as well, misses. This is maybe a run for 7%. Yeah, they get it. That was a bit messy. But everybody was hiding in spawn for Se7en. Only Captain was contesting the point, but he got blasted away when he dropped from the ring. And really cautious play, really nice play here from Ascent.
Yeah, it obviously also had with the drag bomb in there to get the force off, but also just the fact that they got the demo man into spawn and then just cleared the point of stickies, and then they dealt really well with the soldier that was hiding inside of the ring. And then at that point, it was just a matter of sending scouts onto it. So great job, 1-1.
If it's his third middle now, Se7en is trying to do that fake jump. He's trying to locate Captain, but can't really find it. Elocore and Conduct died from Captain and Starkey. Really nice play here from the two soldiers from Se7en, and now it's probably going to be retreat from Ascent. They're going to try to go for Raymond, but he's being well protected again. Amps took down Tiger, and now it's only Drag, but he's being spotted by Talash. He can't connect with Raymond. Raymond's actually quite weak, 40 HP, so maybe Credo with the sneaky play can do anything, but he's living. And that play from Captain and Starkey pretty gave the mid to Se7en. Really nice play here from both the soldiers.
Yeah, bombing in there, getting the medic very quickly early on, and then, but once again, we've actually seen Se7en just be in that valley so much, and Raymond once again was just dancing around down there, and he gets a lot of space to really work with, and he doesn't really get picked off, so it's probably not a coincidence that he always ends up just sitting in valley. And when they have this massive advantage because the enemy medic is dead, like that's the kind of situation you want to just be dodging around as a medic, and you don't really care about what your positioning is because you will eventually win because of the spam.
And Se7en is taking space bottom right. They had to use their Uber because Drag forced it, and now maybe they can go for a point play. That gun was behind the point like Shippy used to place it, and now it's going to be somewhat equal Uber because Conduct doesn't have it quite yet, 70%. There's a heavy as well. It's going to be a tough hold for Ascent. They got some Captain. Oh, look at Tiger. He almost got it. Now Talash is going as well with the Apple Starkey, and it's 2v3 now, but Se7en is so weak. Conduct is alone. Can he get this? So he can't. And this is again a messy push, but so methodical as well. Like the focus fire from Se7en was so good that they just took anyone that was on point and then just capped it.
Just one scout getting onto it just for that slight amount of time actually just forced everyone to go down there, and that just meant that Ascent, they have to stand on the point, and that meant that Se7en could focus fire really easily, and then the demo man did a ton of damage, and even the soldier came in from the side and managed to cap it out before he burned to death. So very, very close here, but we've got another mid, and so far they've been very evenly fought.
And I wanted to see what Captain is going to do. Oh, he gets actually nice rocket onto Drag. He claims the first frag with the help of Talash, and now Ascent is going to be tricky for them to fight it because Elocore is disconnected with Conduct, and Conduct will have to leave from Valley to survive. He does so, and it's only 3 players up for Ascent, and these mid, again, like that's 2 mids in a row that look really dominant for Se7en, because it looked like nobody from Ascent can really take any space when Captain and Starkey are fighting in the air.
The soldiers are definitely the key factor right now, coming in for Se7en, just winning on these middles. And they're getting so much space from it as well. But at least this time around, Connor actually survived, and Captain overextend. The sneaky play there from a Drag will get him down, and they actually are trying to run some players behind, and that's going to be AMS trying to see if he can sneak his way out there, get a nice little pick onto the medic, but he will find only death out there waiting for him. And that's going to make it a lot more difficult to push out because you've got to be so careful with these back caps.
Yeah, and with Domo down, Ascent is trying to make their way through that Spire. They're being contested a bit, and Tiger was on Spire and fought Credo, and he got him down, so now Ascent, they have to retreat, but another nice rocket from Starkey. He's on the row, he's hitting every direct he can, and Ascent has no other choice but to come back to last. Tiger is trying to peek onto main, trying to see if he can catch up Conduct off guard, and bomb from Starkey is oh my god, that was so well played, because Starkey jumped onto Conduct, so everybody on Ascent was looking at him, and then Tiger just walked main and capped it.
Yeah, it was really sneaky. He just like made sure that nobody had a sight on him, and then he just snuck his way in there, and there was only like one sticky on the point, and he could just shoot that off, and that is how this map can just punish you for the smallest things. I think it might have been a little bit over-eager from Ascent to push out there. They lost the scout and they can push, and I think that was a mistake.
And another middle, Starkey is just bullying Elocore on house, and the bomb is coming as well, but Raymond serves away, and he's now safe with Tiger and Domo protecting him, but Ascent have the high ground, only Starkey is behind them, annoying them a bit, and now they're trying to go for a wrap-up play with Starkey and the rest of his teammates trying to go in, but Drac doesn't hear, doesn't understand, he doesn't agree with it, and Se7en was on the 7th house, and he pushed them back as well, so nice answer here. Drac dies eventually, but that's the middle for Ascent. This is what they need to come back into the game. The Ubers are even, and Amps is already on Spy trying to break that hold. Maybe if there's no trade here, but Ascent a bit too eager to push here without any help. Silentes has to go back to spawn, and it's gonna be a hold that we've seen maybe. And no, they don't. They don't want to hold. Nice spy from Elako, just completely nullifying the drum from Captain. And Amps was as well trying to go at the same time. He connected two, or maybe only one shot with his pistol onto Raymond, but didn't really got the drop that he was looking for. And maybe a downtime here. And there was a 3 minutes that were pretty messy, and now Tiger is trying to hide maybe, but it's going to be probably another stalemate here.
I feel like Ascent, they're just a little bit too aggressive. You know, once they lose a player, they should just back off at this point because they get punished very hard. Se7en have so far been extremely good at punishing overextenders, and at that point it gets really dicey for Ascent. This time around it kind of works out. They didn't end up getting popped or anything, but that could have happened if Ascent just didn't have like one air pipe. It's basically what stopped that medic from getting forced out. So they have to be very careful with this. But that being said, when they just survive the initial gauntlet of the soldier bomb-ins from Se7en on his middle, they actually end up on the high ground always. So that's kind of interesting. We see Elikor just bombing in some stickies, just standing up on that lamp post or whatever that is of the train conductor thingy light. I'm not sure what that's called, but they're just trying to figure out where the medic is, and then now they're going to send in another bomber, and this time around it will not succeed. Nice deny there on Silentes, but you know, Silentes, he's probably feeling pretty confident that he can do it again.
Yeah, but he didn't got as lucky as he was the first time, and there was some pressure from Domo onto Chup. Halfway through the map, Se7en is already in the lead, 3-1, and I mean, it's 30 minutes is still a long time to go, but I can sense some pressure is already happening and going onto the shoulders of Ascent, and yeah, in this kind of games, the clock starts to tick really early, I think, and I can sense some pressure here because they won't get as lucky as they were before, and I don't think Ramon is going to drop in the same situation, so they will have to find another way out, another option to break that hold, and it looked like Se7en, they know exactly what to expect, and maybe that first bomb from Silentes was the only missing piece of the puzzle for Se7en in order to have the perfect hold, and we can see Tiger and Talash playing around their medic, ready to deny a potential bomb from Silentes. And it looks like Ascent are actually quite cautious now. They maybe are trying to discuss and decide what to do. I think Elako is trying to make space onto Choke so Silentes can go in. Exactly, this is what's happening. The bomb from Silentes, but what can he do when two people jump him? A drag went as well from Hunter, but what can you do when both Talash and Tiger completely hit you into thin air?
They made him go backwards, and Tiger's actually going to see if he can get all the way in here along with Captain. He's actually in very close to the medic. He's actually on him. Can he hit him? He actually gets the force out. One meat shot is all it takes, and this has turned a complete disaster now for Se7en. Tiger actually makes it out alive as well. He's going to give him a tick, and now they're going to get ready to push Spire, and just really well played there from Se7en. Just so much pressure going on.
Yeah, they saw two players dead. They knew they had to take their chances, and they took it really well. And now Raymond has a full overcharge while Conduct only at 30. There's already a gun into the hands of AMS, but Se7en, they don't waste any time. They're already into lobby. This is maybe what's missing on Ascent when they try to push with the NAD. And the Captain is going to lead that charge onto top left against the Pyro and the level 1 gun. The gun is already down, and now everybody's heading into spawn from Ascent. Captain is playing the point. Someone was on the ground. Silentes takes it. Trades, and now it's only Drag protecting that. What can he do against Talash and Tiger? And again, that point play made all the difference. And maybe Ascent was a bit too slow to set that hold. And Se7en right now looks like nothing can stop them.
When they get into these pushes and everything is just not set up perfectly, because Ascent just didn't have the time to do it, it looks almost impossible for them to hold this point. You need like a pyro and a heavy and everything, and then you also need to just kite the Uber really well while holding the point. It's very, very difficult, and Se7en are doing an excellent job of actually holding the point.
And the gap is getting bigger between these two teams. Starkey's waiting in show, trying to corner jump both Drac and Silentes. The bomb is, again, so much aggression to Raymond, but Raymond leaves, and Elako has to die because he's getting peppered down, and now it's only 2 scouts and Conduct. Starkey dies as well to nice focus fire, and look at this is pretty much extreme ulti duo happening. But Arms included take the best over Domo, Raymond, and Talash, and they finally take that. But that aggression was almost not successful because Raymond juked for a really long time, and in the end they managed to connect the shot. And this is where Ascent need to be decisive better, because we've seen them earlier being too slow to take advantage of the edge they had.
I think there's no chance in hell they don't push in time on this one. It is just a matter of how fast are they and can they just prevent them from doing it. And actually Se7en, they just expect this as well. So they're building up a sentry, they have a pyro, they have a heavy as well. That's so much hit points that you actually have to chew through. And I also want to point out that Ascent Scouts got 6 kills on that mid, so that was just all of them just cleaning up right there. So just having a really good performance here. But now, how do you push this heavy and a pyro and a sentry gun?
With Ams, apparently he's taking the lead on that Ubercharge with the help of Ela for the guns get down really early, but the heavy's kiting. Now Ams is going for him, but the heavy still lives with half HP. Is getting taken down now. Eventually, it's no stickies on point, so maybe it's gonna be a point play. Nobody's playing the ring for Se7en, and maybe some cap time now will be welcome for Ascent, but they just really everyone in spawn, and they really cautiously, a really different approach to the middle of that last push here for us. To just claim the frags before claiming the cap. That worked out quite well.
Yeah, very
for
patient.
Them
there was no stickies on the point for a very long time, and yet they still didn't just jump down there. That takes a lot of discipline, but it might also have been an opportunity wasted there. But yeah, Ascent, they actually quite like their mid so far. They always tend to be on the high ground, so if they get a slight advantage, they will just immediately win.
And maybe this is the beginning of a back. Elafor is being pushed back into his choke, but Tiger is really weak, and so is Condog. Look at the Ascent, they're stuck in their choke. They have to wait a bit for the heals to be better, and the bomb from Ombrack is coming as well, but it is getting cleaned up by Palash. Starkey, counter bombs, is held with Captain, and they just plow through the combo of Ascent. Captain claims the frag onto Condog, and now it's only Credu, Ams and Se7en. Can they get to Raymond? No, because he's being escorted to safety by Domo and Tiger. And once more, I feel like Captain and Starkey are doing so much work for their team.
Not only that, the Ascent soldiers also kind of beefed there in that middle, especially Drac. He was just like shooting the awning close to himself, just like trying to kill it so badly, but it's actually an inanimate object that you cannot kill. So he just died really badly without doing any damage to anyone else. And then the Se7en's follow-up bomb didn't really have the desired effect. And after that happened, it was just everyone being stuck in choke. They did have the high ground once again, so it is pretty interesting just how willing Se7en are to just play in the valley. But when you have that kind of big advantage, it doesn't matter that you're in the valley.
Maybe they're just baiting, and now the Uber is being used onto Talash, and Captain Domo as well is going in, and 3 players from Ascent hiding in spawn 4 now, and they're gonna try to take the high ground, but Drac is getting bullied on the point. Captain is playing under, trying to maybe take space. Yay! He's jumping almost in the spawn, but it gets cleaned up by Ams. And now Se7en, they need to go back. They figured out that that push was not really efficient for them. And as I say that, Palash gets a frag onto Eleco. Maybe this is it. No, Ascent has to. They hold this, and I think this is the first time that Se7en doesn't cap after winning the middle fight.
Yeah, Soldier actually managed to hold in really well there, just standing inside the ring. And Se7en, they did get a pick off here, which make capturing the Spire a lot more difficult because you see a single scout up there, but he doesn't have that much support. Now a Soldier going to jump up there, but the support's going to come in from Se7en as well. But it looks like just not going to be quite enough, so a really brave push out here. And Ascent, they have now done 2 things that are really difficult to do on this map, which is to hold last at an uber disadvantage and then to push back out of the point. So very impressive.
They're trying to go balcony. I think they think they have that, but no, Raymond has the Uber because they've been a bit. So Domo dies to 2 amps. That's huge for Ascent if they can get some ground now, because there's no Domo to deny them. And yeah, Se7en has to go back and choke. That was really nice play for Amps. That Uber trade looked a bit iffy at first, but that 2 shot from Amps completely cleaned the way for Ascent. And really nice, really well played here. Still no Domo, no stickies for Se7en, and Ascent trying to make their way into the choke with the help of Amps and Drac bombing in as well. Captain has no choice but to jump back onto the Spire, trying to take the high ground. He's doing so, but can't really contest on his own, so everybody from Se7en is trying to get out and not dying. They wasted a bit of time, and Amps as well died, so it's pretty big for Se7en. The Ubers are quite even. Raymond will get probably his Uber in time when Ascent pushes, but really nice sequence of play here from Ascent. They just went on. They were onto the last, and they pushed all the way back to Se7en's last. So it's pretty well played, pretty impressive here. It's 6 minutes now, so it's not a lot of time. Elef was trying to pick, and Se7en died to a level 1 sentry, trying to jump onto Raymond, but he didn't get it. And now Beta, it's only 5 minutes 50 seconds. Ascent are done 2 rounds, and Talash is on spot. He's going to check for off classes. What would you recommend now?
Well, I see Elikor actually, he jumped all the way back to spawn, so I think we're going to see some shenanigans here. He's probably going to switch to the quickie launcher, and then we could see Spy, but it could also just be a pain train just jumping onto the point. You know, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see whether or not Se7en has switched to the pain train, but I'm just going to assume that he did. And the last
Of course on quickie, you're right.
Yeah, and Thalash is just checking for off classes here as well. And I quite like this. The overall, you can just jump in a sword, or you can run in some scouts from the right side, or you just clear off the stickies. There's a lot of different opportunities here. But first off, I think you do need to clear off the sentry gun. That makes it a lot more easy to just do any kind of plan, but it's not easy to take down these sentry gun. Thalash and Tiger have been extremely good at just reflecting everything. Last time around, it was Tiger on the pyro, and this time around it's Thalash, so maybe Thalash is worse at it, but yeah, they're not going to know that. So let's see what kind of cool plans that they have here.
One sticky from Elikor was enough to remove all the stickies from Domo from the point, so now nobody will be able to contest. And as I said, of course, Domo lays more stickies onto the last, so I take that back. Of course, Elikor will have to once more remove the stickies. He's doing that. It's pretty much a sticky battle here. And Se7en died trying to protect Elikor, so it's a bit unfortunate here for the English soldier. And yeah, clock is ticking. 4 minutes now. It's gonna be tough. And Domo placed more stickies, but on the ring this time. So it's gonna be a bit more trickier for Elikor to actually remove them with his quickie bomb launcher. So I don't even know if you can remove them when they're this high, unless you time your angle sticky really well. And yeah, it's gonna be tough for Ascent, yeah, even though with the time pressure. They're going bottom right. They used onto Credu and Amps, trying to go onto that point right away. And Credu almost gets it. No, he gets it halfway, and the gun gets down though. So maybe Conduct shouldn't have flashed Credu here. I don't know if he would have died. But in the end, that Uber doesn't really work out for Ascent. They're only 2 up now. Only Elikor actually right now, and he's gonna probably go down as well. That's an ace. For 7, they used their own Uber, but they got 6 frags, so it's pretty good here. And I think there was kind of a miscalculation here from Ascent.
I felt like a bit of a desperation play from Ascent. Just I feel like there was a lot of other ways they could have done that. As it turned out, 7 was just completely prepared for it, and it's actually pretty interesting how Stark was actually on the shotgun, and he didn't do the changed the loadout thing correctly. All right, so he's all the way back on last. Oh, look what Credu is. Oh,
Do they know about it? I don't know. But Ascent, they're still fighting this. They don't want to get. They shouldn't let 7 take this place, because if they do, they cross off this map and they can't win it anymore. Raymond almost has his Uber, but Domo died and Captain died, so maybe 7 will play this cautiously. They know that if they hold this for long enough, there won't be enough time for Ascent to come back, so maybe this is the play they're going for right now. I think Tiger already on Edge is going to put a sentry, but this is probably now that Ascent needs to go. They know that they got Starkey, it's only a level 1 gun, but Credu dies as well to the Pyro, so it's going to be extremely tricky, extremely iffy now for Ascent to push this. They're only 4, they don't have their Uber, while Raymond has his own Uber, so it's going to be tricky. Are they going to wait for spawners? I don't know. Captain's trying to go main. He gets 1 rocket onto Conduct. That was the splash and can't get the frag. Still a level 1 gun for Tiger only, so maybe this is time. They're getting the Uber onto the left from Ascent. Raymond is his phone. He finally uses his own Uber, but goes on the ground to Thalash. This is a Pyro Uber. Yeah, you've heard it. This is not Highlander. Elikor is on the high ground as well, and Thalash is trying to make his way onto lobby, but once more that push clicked a bit.
Ascent are not retreating, they're still in there. Elikor is so aggressive, and too aggressive it would seem as well, as now it's just AMS. Currently, all of 7, they are actually on the low ground though, so it was a bit dangerous. Eventually they're just going to have enough presence there to go in, and Credu, he's looking for the backup, but I'm pretty sure they have eye on him.
And no, the only 1 minute 30 seconds, they need to make the time count right now. They need to get around in the next 30 seconds, probably next 20 seconds, otherwise it's gonna be over. I can see Ascent trying to make his way onto bottom right. They get Starkey, so it's a pretty good window and they can maybe go onto that last from bottom right, but Stark Captain was watching here, and Credu is here, he's behind the point, he's being spotted by the gun. He's trying to go for Raymond, maybe he hasn't been spotted by the rest of Ascent, for 7 though. Thalash kills Conduct with the reflected rocket, so I think that's pretty much what it's gonna be for this map. 7 is gonna take it, and despite the desperate attempts from Ascent, 7 takes the first map, and it felt like the scoreline says maybe there was some hope for Ascent, but I feel like 7 was in control for most of the time.
Very much so. I would just want to point out that I actually predicted 4-2 perfectly. I'm just going to ride that high as long as it works. They better not cap now that I've gloated about it. Yeah, just 7, they were just that much better at pushing last, and also they were really good at just riding some of those Uber advantages into last. And they just got more of them. So Drac and Celeste will both go in there, and Eloquo's going to follow the win. Come on, get them. Raymond will survive, and that was just a 3-man stack. And Kratos on sniper as well. Oh, I think he just mid-air headshot Starkey as well. But sometime, oh, he didn't. Okay, and he eventually, he just stayed alive for so long.
So that was the first map. Se7en takes it 4-2 against Ascent on Badlands. This is a best of 5, so they need 2 more maps to win that series, and Ascent still needs 3 maps. So we'll go straight away to our analyst desk, because they're gonna take us through everything we need to know before going on to that second map. So we'll see you in a few minutes.
I assume that's where I step in and start talking about stuff. So just want to quickly let you guys know that eepilly's had to step away, so he won't be joining us anymore. So just some love hearts in chat for eepily. Beta, if you don't mind, would you be able to join us for the post-game analysis for this one? And then we'll get Ombrack in on for the other one.
Sure, why not?
Okay, and we're joined back with Dum. So we've gone into the first map. It's 4-2 to Se7en. It started off with a very quick round. It felt like Se7en were really dominating. And now there were moments where Ascent had fleeting moments of, composure. But I felt like Se7en was so... just so much in control all the time.
Se7en just had the more consistent game plan, and you could just tell from the mid fights all around that Se7en just approached this whole map all around a lot more passive. They spent like the majority of the mid fights on their own slope, if not even further back than that. It costed them a few of them eventually, because they just, after the bombs were done, they just didn't have good position. But if every time they were able to just get a kill early by Ascent trying to commit early on the mid fights, which happened quite a lot of times, they just baited somebody out while standing on the slope and ran forward the moment they got like 1 or 2 kills on the soldiers trying to jump forward on the sand. And they were just able to do so much with that every single time. Get the soldiers behind as well if something like that didn't really work out. Just have Captain Stark jumping behind, slowly come forward while the soldiers creep in from behind, and it just made everything so hard for Ascent's combo to try to take any space for free on the mid fights. And it led to great success for most of them. Other than that, they played the stalemates more carefully, and the early lead is just, once again, something you can't let Se7en get. They will just play it slow, patient, and passive every day of the week if you let them. And with that early lead they had the entire way through the game, they were able to do that just this entire game, basically. Ascent was on the back foot the entire time, had to make stuff happen. At the end of that, obviously, we saw that it got more desperate and desperate as time went on, the more unlikely it got to even make anything happen in the first place. And they had, like you said, a few good moments. And I think especially on non-Uber situations, they were able to get some good situations going themselves. In with like a soldier leading through choke, and then everybody comes in with that. Stuff like that worked really well, but it just happened so rarely, because besides the one drop onto Raymond, they played really, really careful about not letting anything happen to the medics Uber in those even Uber situations, so Ascent couldn't do anything about them.
Yeah, and actually just touching on something. So it was mentioned during the pre-game analysis that actually Ascent, kind of their downfall is sometimes they make these little mistakes. And I saw whenever they were going for a play onto last or something like that, they were overextending players and in just a little bit too much, and the Se7en players were able to just clean them up instantly. I saw it happen to Drax, Salentes. I also saw it happen to Eloquo at one point, and I feel like that really put a detriment to them, because Se7en were the complete opposite in situations. They did some really good bottom right bids, as well as just some really good, concise post-Uber exchange pushes and repushes that actually kind of capped it out for them. I feel like going into process it's going to be a little different, but Beta, you are obviously watching that. I dip every now and then. Just product, not process. So it begins with P. I did good. But you were watching that game. What was sort of the standout things that both teams were doing that really kind of swayed it to Se7en's favor?
I think Se7en was really good at stalling a lot of the time, and it's actually kind of curious how Ascent's best moment really were when they were kind of rushing things and non-Uber pushes through the choke. Like that was really the shining light for Ascent there in that match. And really, I think what they might take a lot away from it. Unfortunately, we're going to product where you don't really have that dynamic push-pull situation that you have on other maps. Like, you're always just pushing or holding on this map. And so far, I will mention this next map. Elacore on the first map, he went 3 for 13 with 170 DPM. That is so low for Elacore. I've never seen
his
him.
map. It's like every time I've seen Elacore play, I've always seen him struggle on Badlands compared to any other map.
Yeah, I think Ombrack can confirm that as well from the old French Ascent days.
This is Elacore's worst map. So Ascent fanboys, stay hopeful.
Yeah, stay hopeful. It's still a game. It's only the first map. We got best of 5 on this, but just having a quick look at the logs just to brush over them, you can see that players like Captain, Tiger, and Thalash with some of their off classes during their last holds were really good. Like, they could not do anything with their thought process. They were making sure. So me and Dunn were talking about this, but Se7en's game plan was just to make sure that it was nice and slow on their last when they were defending it. Ascent could not get in and start playing the point at any point, so they were protecting that sentry with the pirate as much as possible. And I feel like you saw Drac and Silentes try to get into a position through main to spam it, but they just weren't able to do so. And even with Credu trying to get some angles, they were just pressuring that area so efficiently that it was very difficult for them to actually get anything done against that Se7en last hold.
Yeah, they really made a brilliant job of it. Se7en on last, both offensively and defensively, is just really interesting to watch. There's so much to get away from it when you just, on their last pushes themselves as well, they just always created enough opportunities for themselves. That thing happened in a beard point pressure or pressure onto somebody, and even if they lost players because of that, even if they lost 2, they fell back to second, forced something out of Ascent to make a move. And I think in one case, Credu died on the point they wanted to leave. They still called out Silentes on the way out, and suddenly there's just only 4 people left on the defense without a gun on last, and that's the situation they're preying on. Just have the other team make a mistake of just mild pressure on over and over, and with the added pressure of the point in the equation, especially on Badlands, you can just play that earlier on with some bait plays, and the second time around you just already have half the point capped. You're half a second away from just winning the round outright, regardless of it's on the last point anymore. I like that Ascent tried to put a sentry on the space behind the point on a few occasions to deal with the lower left push or just scouts walking in from there, but Se7en was still able to take it down relatively early and spotted it early enough that nothing happened. And you go.
No, it's fine. All I was just going to mention is I actually just want to stand up for Connor here, because on the med stats we have a drop either side, and Raymond was actually the first one to drop during that game from that absolutely amazing.
I was so surprised.
That was so
that
good.
That was all great by Silentes, but that was just complete failure by the scouts.
There was no scouts by him, and Silentes read the room perfectly, and he just jumped through choke, wasn't contested at all, just sink those rockets into the face of Raymond, and
Raymond wasn't looking at him either. That's why he dropped.
Wasn't he?
Yeah, he wasn't looking at him. So he had no idea it was coming. And then it was a slight sink, not a perfect sink or anything, but the rockets hit a little bit faster than he would have expected. Because when you get hit by the first rocket, you know that there's going to be a certain cooldown's length until you get hit by the other one. But because he was falling down, it actually hit sooner than Raymond could have expected. So that's why he dropped and he wasn't looking at him.
Okay, well, we've just got the confirmation that it's going to go live. So quickly, DmMmTm, prediction.
Ooh, I hope it's going to be 3-2 Ascent. Let's go.
I hope the same.
Just go to 5 maps.
Beta, I'm going to throw it over to you and Ombrack. You guys have a wonderful time. You can talk about your predictions now. So Ombrack and Beta, take the floor again.
Okay, if you give it to me, I'll take it again. We're back on product. This is the second map of that series. Let's just remind everyone that Se7en won the first map, was Prolands, and Se7en won 4-2. We've seen Elacore having a rough map, Beta, and we know how Domo is dominant on this one. So before we go, we have a short amount of time, but it looks like Domo is already taking the edge just because Elacore is not feeling it.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see just how much it was just the map that didn't really fit him and just the gameplay situations when the stalemates that didn't really work out for him. Whereas Product is a much more DM heavy map where you're always just kind of doing little fights as a demo man doing. There's always things you can spam. There's not these big chokes that you have to get through. But I'm gonna say it's gonna be 3-0 in favor of Se7en on this map. What are your predictions?
Whoa, that's
Wow.
rough. But I think I two think Se7en's gonna take it. I'll say 3-1 for the sake of competition. 3-1 to Se7en. But here we go, first middle. I'll try to see what Helico can do here. He's getting a bit focused, a bit. Oh, we can see Credo already on snipers. He hit a shot with Starkey and then both boom onto Kundok. Raymond dies as well, and Credo hits another shot onto Domo. It's not only Tiger and Talash against Draclo, but Credo and sniper. It's gonna be hard for him to contest the two scouts. He's on Cliff trying to maybe hit a shot to Tiger, who's just juking everything. But gets a shot. Credo gets another headshot onto that middle fight, and Drac claimed the frag onto Talash. So yeah, Kundok died right away, but Credo just saved it.
And dying fast is good. That means you spawn earlier, right? They actually both medics spawned about the same time, but man, Credo hitting so many headshots there. Gets 2 kills, gets effectively another one, and that means Ascent will take the first mid. And if they can have this sniper just dominating the map, they're looking so good. And having a sniper in this defensive situation is very nice. I'm wondering what Se7en's going to do here, if they're just going to do a push-in or if they're going to try to do some sack before anything. There's definitely going to be a soldier in immediately on Connor. Connor's dancing around. Captain's still alive! Somehow!
Oh no! Only Arms was shooting at Captain, and Captain had time to shoot 4 rockets at Kondok, and Kondok he couldn't do anything but die because he can't only juke for so long. And this is the second time now that Kondok is not really quite well protected from his teammate. The Connor bomb is coming from Drac, and Elako claims the frag on Starkey as well. So Raymond had the time to leave, but no! Drac is it. Drac is on his case. He knows the medic way too well, and he got the frag. And now it's on the Captain. Maybe trying once more to go for Kondok, but yeah, I don't want to blame Kondok here because I feel like once more he wasn't really well protected on this situation. But
he was not.
Yeah.
They just there was no way Captain should have gotten that much time. He was jumping around forever, and he wasn't even like he was doing super dodging. It was just people were missing him, and not enough people were focusing him. So definitely not Connor's fault there. But a nice re-pushing. That means that we're going to be in another situation that actually Ascent's going to be at a slight Uber advantage, but they don't have it yet. So that's going to be another fight at least before that comes into effect.
And Elako denied the bomb from Captain onto his medic, so he managed to protect him. But the heals are a bit bad for Ascent now, and they need to go back because Ams died to Talash. Credo is still on sniper. We haven't mentioned that Silentes is playing the sky while Credo is on sniper. And this is another for Kondok and Silentes. Maybe Ascent wants another headshot from Credo. He just hits everything right now, and it's pretty much the only reason why Ascent is still ahead and alive on that first round. He gets another one!
It is unbelievable. He's just hitting so many shots and doing so much damage. If you look at his points, it's not all that impressive, but if you just look at what he's just doing for his team right now, it is absolutely worth it, and he's doing so much damage. And getting Demo Man down there, that's going to make it a lot more difficult to go in there, and it's going to force Se7en to wait until they push in. And actually, Ascent, they're being really aggressive here.
Uber is being used by Se7en onto Captain and Talash. Kondok finally uses his own Uber, trying to go with his scouts only. Captain died to Sticky. Elakor bombs in, maybe trying to go cliff, but no, he figures out he has to go back not to die. That was a decent trade for Ascent. They got one, they didn't concede any cap time whatsoever, and now it's a bit tough for Se7en to go back onto this fight. But Domo is trying anyway with the help of Talash. The bomb is coming from Drac onto Domo. They know they need to focus him down, and he's down. He's just died. A double bomb from Captain and Starkey, and Kondok once more extremely weak. Captain was so close to claim another frag onto Kondok, and now it's 2 scouts and a medic for Se7en against the rest of the team from Ascent, and they managed to do that quite well. They killed Ams, which is probably the more threatening one, but Credo once more claims a frag. It's gonna be now a bit tough for Drac against the scout, but he's getting helped by Credo, who's just, whether it's a headshot or a body shot, he hits them all, and that fight went a bit better than it could have been for Se7en, and in the end they got the cap. They have a slight Uber ride. I don't know if they know about this, and another bomb from Starkey onto Kondok. He loves the track of the medic, and Credo dies, so no sniper, no demo. Domo just walked over the point and punished everything, and now it's only Kondok, Ams and Silentes. Can they take that fight? Silentes is not the main scout. They force the Uber. Kondok 97, he's getting focused down. Can he die? He lives!
Oh, he gets it!
4 HP! And the Uber is being used by Kondok to get probably Domo as well. That was so tight, so clutch from Kondok.
Kondok has actually retreated now, so there's no heals on point, but I don't think Se7en realized this. Okay, now he's finally back, and they're actually going to wait to cap it out to get some better spawns. Nice little heads-up play there. coming out from Ascent. But that was such a drawn-out fight. There's only 30 seconds remaining here, so Se7en, they need to make a play quickly.
And they're trying to make their way across the point. Credo wasn't sniper, but got focused down so quickly here. And now this is a complete crumble for Ascent. Everybody's dying. Only Captain to be dead onto Se7en. Starkey dies as well onto. He was bombing in, so he made a lot of space to his teammate. And Se7en are delaying the cap, so they get better spawners compared to Ascent. They only 5 seconds though for Ascent, so maybe if they manage to get that fight going. Credo still on sniper, gets another headshot onto Domo. He sees that man, he hits him in the head.
Yeah, that's kind of what he does. He sees them, and they have a lot of time to work with here. They have a minute and 20 seconds, and they do have to get an Uber out of Se7en, but there's only 5 seconds on the point. So if they cap it at any time, they're going to go in. But here comes the Uber, actually. They did get the force out, and Connor, he's out there. He might get taken down.
And he's going to fall with the onto Domo and Tiger, and no, it's gonna be a bit complicated for Ascent. They're only 3 up. They don't have any heals, but Raymond died as well, so the Uber situation is even for both teams. No heals, no Uber, nothing to help them. Credo still on sniper. Condog is up eventually, and maybe this is gonna make the difference. The heals for Ascent is gonna be here sooner than the ones from Se7en, but they don't take that space. Credo still on sniper, maybe he's slowing them down a bit because no soldiers to take the space. Drac is eventually here, and now Domo is fighting the point against Credo, and Amps is getting cleaned up by Amps. And everybody, that Tiger dies as well, so Talash dies as well, and Captain and Starkey. This is a crumble for Se7en, and that fight from Ascent was perfect. They just focused on everyone, and they killed them one by one.
Every single person dying with no one from Ascent dying. That is absolutely insane. And it was a pretty even fight as well. There was like no Ubers involved at all. And once again, just Ascent getting these really non-Uber fights to go their way. And that's really crucial for them because that's a huge advantage to have, that you can just at any time go, oh, we don't have an Uber, they don't have an Uber, let's fight them. Let's fight. Let's take it outside, bro. And
second round. And yeah. Credo is still on sniper. Can he make his magic work as well as he did on the first round? Everybody from Se7en, they're trying to take space onto Drac onto the left side. They get him really down, but they can't get the frag. And actually, Se7en is the one. He's getting a frag onto Starkey. The bomb from Captain is coming onto China, but he can't really get Condog down. He's gonna get peppered down as well, and he's really weak now. He has to jump back, and with a 7 HP only. And but that was enough for Se7en to take that space because everybody was looking at Captain from Ascent, and they couldn't go any further. Captain eventually dies to Sticky from Elacor. Another headshot from Credo and Domo. He has his number. Drax dies to Tiger, and this is probably a better outcome from Ascent, but that fight was a bit messy. And Captain, even though he didn't claim any frag, he gave so much time and so much ground to Se7en that Domo was just able to walk on the point and get the cap. And but now Ubers are even. Still a sniper. It's gonna be tough for Raymond to go inside without popping.
Yeah, we got camera back. We know it was a bit of a radio cast, but don't worry, Gemm is back. It's not even an update. What are we worried about? And here comes this Uber from Se7en. They want to get onto Connor. He hasn't even popped it yet. Okay, there we go. He milked it for a really long time. This should be a great Uber for Ascent.
Captain died as well as Talash, and Elako bombed onto Cliff. He laid a lot of pipes and stickies, and he gets a frag onto Raymond. Well played here from Elako. He eventually died, but he did so much, claiming another frag onto Tiger, and now it's only Domo with 15 HP who has to retreat. And that was a really clean fight, and you mentioned how Condog milked that Uber use, and that made all the difference for Ascent. And it felt like they're really into that map. Se7en had a lot of cap time on the first round, but even though Ascent was the one taking the round, and I think Credo on sniper is getting a lot of drop down, and they don't really manage, Se7en don't really manage to get him down quick enough. And again, Tiger and Starkey, Captain, they all went for Credo, but they couldn't get the frag in the end, even though Credo was super weak with 18 HP. And I think Credo is doing so much.
It's going to be really nice for them, but actually somehow Thalas is still alive. He just went in there, took down AMS, who was taking the charge, and Thalas, he actually makes it out alive. So he just basically single-handedly shut down that entire man advantage push from Ascent, and they're going to have to try again.
I think Drax killed Talash while trying to go for Domo, and Se7en is the one killing the demo man. And yeah, I think like the fights are better for Ascent because their focus fire is slightly better. The bomb from Captain not to Condog. Condog serves the first rocket, and this time Captain dives quickly enough so Condog can survive. And Credo on sniper is here going to be so important because he denies so much sightline for Se7en to go in without using, and it's going to be tough for Raymond not to drop actually, because Credo is feeling it, he's hitting the shots, and Raymond, he won't be able to take any risk going into that middle fight. Domo is leading the charge, he's trying to go extremely deep, but the Uber is used onto Condog, Elacor and Amps, and the Se7en, they have to go back. Raymond is being completely left alone. Hams is on the chase, he gets a frag on the medic, no heals for Se7en. Starkey died as well, so all these fights are going extremely bad for Se7en. They can't get the frag. Tiger is not really able to claim a frag onto Kondok, even though Kondok is 7 HP, he survives. This is all the difference, all that matters, that Raymond leaves when he's getting Raymond dies when he's getting chased, while everybody is now retreating around Kondok. And I feel like that first death from Kondok served as a lesson for Amps, because now he's never leaving his medic side.
Yeah, like he used the Uber to get the enemy medic, Raymond, and then he actually went back into spawn, and then he doubled back and defended his medic. So just great play there by AMS. Captain has actually made his way behind, but Se7en has found him, but he will lose the 1v1, and now it's getting super uncomfortable for Ascent.
Kondok died to a nice aggression from Talash and Starkey, but Elacor and Amps punished them for killing their medic. And Elacor is another player who seems to have a much better game on product than he had on ProLand, so maybe another one of the reasons why Ascent seem more dominant right now. Raymond is fighting on the mid with the help of Tiger. On his own, he's claiming 2 frag onto Amps and Elacor, pretty much the 2 best DM players from Ascent. And Se7en finally claims the point, but it's 12 seconds for Ascent against 2 minutes for Se7en, so Se7en needs to be aggressive, and they are getting that forward hold going.
This can be the forward hold that can really buy them the time that they need, because they not only do the forward hold, where you need to, like, often you get a Pyro to deal with this. Maybe Ascent's going to have to switch Credo off a Sniper onto Pyro. We've seen him do that quite a lot of times. But not only is it the Uber, I said we do actually have a pause here, but that's fine. We can talk about this. And this is a good way to buy time. And of course, this is the super standard hold. We have the 2 soldiers on the left. You can see currently they're holding 1 door each. They're probably going to end up both on the left side, just spamming everything out really diligently. And then we have Domo up on the high ground. He's probably going to move over onto the right side and sticky that off. It's actually already stickied off, so he's gotten over there to maybe get an arrow. And I think he just got it. And now they're holding this. And yeah, usually you see Pyro break this, but do you think that's necessary, or can you just keep Credo on Sniper?
I think against Se7en you have to, because having a Sniper right now doesn't really help unless he goes main and hits the clutchiest shot of his life. Unless he does that, I think Credo on Sniper is going to be pretty useless here. Especially against a team like Se7en, because they master that forward hold so well. They just really good at it. You can see that Domo is placed here because he can sticky right side. He has sticky's right side actually, but if Ascent decides to push from main, Domo will rotate on top onto that where he is right now, and it's going to spam them down. So Domo has the perfect location placement here, and I think you need a Pyro to break the hold, either to push with your medic or to try to send someone who's going to jump behind the Pyro onto the medic and try to get that rocket and that force or drop, pick your favorite. So I think you need that Pyro. I wonder who's going to take Pyro though, because Credo being Sniper now is a bit iffy, and I don't know who's the designated Pyro for Ascent, and I would guess that because Credo is the one placing now, is going to go Pyro, but I don't know if they have a plan. They probably have one that I don't know about.
They've definitely used Credo on Pyro before in this season, in this kind of situation. It might just be that Ascent haven't quite realized that there's the forward hold. You know, just because a soldier chases someone out into spawn doesn't mean that they're actually doing a forward hold, you know. I think Ascent is smart enough to know that that's probably going to be the case. You always want to do a forward hold like this when you have like 2 soldiers and a demo and a medic like really up far or close, and even with the scouts being alive as well. It's just a full team just up waiting for them. So I think they expect it, but I'm a little curious what we're going to see. There's also another option, which is to just overwhelm side. So you don't even use a Pyro for that. You can, but you can also go quickie bombs and remove stickies like that, and then jump a bunch of players through the left, and then you take down the demo man, and now you have one side of it. And if they continue to forward hold, you just go on to the point, and then now you actually have the high ground. You usually had a slight advantage when you hold the point on Viaduct because you have the high ground. So that will force them back just because you have the left side of the map. So that is another way to do it, and you don't need a Pyro for that at all. And usually you will lose, like, what you do is you run a scout through, and if he gets through, he can get onto the demo man. And if he gets deaded on, the stickies are now gone, and you can just jump soldiers and scouts and everything through. And it can be very difficult for the demo man to get out in time. So that might actually be another reason why Domo is kind of up on this high ground. I'm sure he'll move over closer to his right side, but it might just also be that he's really afraid of that happening, and they're kind of seeding one side of it and not letting Ascent know it. Because if Ascent goes for the pyro push, and they're just giving up one side, then they'll actually have a much better presence than the other side, and Ascent just never realizes what's going on.
And the pause is over, so we're gonna see what's gonna happen. I can see Credo on Pyro, so it's gonna be one taking that. The lead tried to go here. He's getting held by Soldier. The bomb is coming, but Raymond is nowhere to be seen actually. Se7en getting one rocket, gets to force with the help of Drag, so a really nice coordinated play here from both the soldiers. But eepily died here, so it's a bit questionable here positioning from eepily, but in the end what's done it's done. The Uber is being forced, and I'm expecting now Ascent trying to bust through the choke with the help of their Uber. Maybe they're going, yeah, they're actually going left side. You mentioned the stickies are there, so maybe it's gonna be Tiki. They know about this, so they changed their plans. They want to go right with Arms leading it. Raymond is already super far back, and Starkey is making his way back to last. Maybe claiming a frag onto Kridu. That's huge to get a scout here, because that's a lot less cap time and a lot less follow-up power for Ascent on their Uber. They're going main. They still haven't used, but they will probably have to. eepily is calling for it. It's used onto Arms and eepily. A lot of damage running onto Se7en, but actually they can't really claim any frags. And a really nice retreat here for Se7en. They knew that was coming such in advance, and they didn't lose anyone to that Uber. No, they
10 seconds remaining. That's not very much time. So Se7en, they need to go in here. So Ascent, if they can just hold this very defensive position, they will win this map.
And Captain dies. Se7en says, no demo, that's actually you. The Uber's been used by Raymond onto his scalp.
Wow, they get
because
inside.
he used the Uber, nobody could cap. And Ascent claims a frag. This is tragic and so funny.
And they like rage paused. That's where that happened. So now we at least, I think there was like a tactical pause where they were just all yelling at each other. I bet that was Cadus just entering the mumble with his little beating stick and just giving them guy a rousing. But yeah, that's going to make it 2-0 for Ascent on this Viaduct map.
They must be so upset, and the bomb from Captain maybe highlights this, because he didn't do any damage and died right away with Amps. So that was out of the ordinary. I've never seen that before. Drag died to a play from Talash, but once more, Credo killed Domo with a fully charged body shot this time. Gets another. Was that headshot? I think I heard one, but it's not only Tiger and Talash with the help of the medic trying to fight this. Amps and Se7en with the help of eepily going in, but the bomb from Captain gets one rocket onto Conda, gets two, gets the frag, no heals for Ascent, and now Se7en, they can take this cautiously because they cap the point and they're gonna have the Uber out.
It's definitely an advantage for Se7en here. You can see Ascent, they're not really capping it because they want better spawns, but they might just end up not capping it at all. They were just a bit too clever there for their own good, it seems, and now they're just not going to get the point at all. They do end up with better spawns for it, and they would eventually lose it anyway, so it's arguable whether or not that was worth the risk, but they look kind of silly here. And it's going to be another forward hold for in the classic position, with Domo being pretty close to the combo.
I mean, they look sillier than Se7en not breaking the cap because they use the Uber, so I think this is not contested. The Uber... Triple bomb from Se7en's Drac and eepily. They got the force onto Raymond, so this is pretty much what they were looking for. And now they're gonna push back, wait for their spawners, and go back into action. And look at this. This time Se7en is playing this extremely differently. Instead of staying really close, they're already far back to the middle point, because you said it's easier to hold when you're on mid. So maybe they've listened to you, and this is what they're doing right now. And probably gonna be an aggressive Uber from Kondok and eepily. eepily is trying to, it's looking ready. Amps died, so it's pretty bad now if you want to use the Uber. And Domo completely mulches eepily with the sink, pipe, and sticky. He eventually died, but this is really bad now for Ascent, because they have not much cap time, no demo to contest.
Oh, Drac gets a huge airshot onto Stark as well. He was in the back lines there. But now it's going to be two scouts against a scout and a medic, and a single soldier in there as well. So now it's just a big old fight. And all the Ascent scouts are in here as well. But Ascent kind of looks like they're being pushed back there, but eepily with a nice pipe will make this a much more manageable fight for Ascent.
What made all the difference is Se7en is back on his soldier roots. He got the frag onto Raymond, so pretty much evened everything out. And this time they don't delay cap, they take it straight away. Ascent, they have the hold, but 2 minutes have passed already for Se7en onto the third round, so Ascent need to play this perfectly if they want to take that home. Captain is trying to make his way onto the left side. The bomb is coming, but Credo,
Raymond
body
down.
shots.
That's going to change everything.
Yeah, and now Condog has 90%, he's getting bombed, he's 17 HP, can he live? No, he eventually died 2 pounds from Domo, and it looks so good for Ascent, and now that's pretty much even. Credu gets another body shot, I mean, onto Talash, and yeah, both medic died pretty much at the same time, which even things out, and this is really messy. You can tell that Se7en is a bit, I think Se7en is a bit out of plan right now. They don't really manage to do what they want, and they try to make the things a bit more messy, I feel like. And now they are on the point. Domo is just disrespecting Elacore, just killing him without second thoughts, and the Credo another body shot onto Talash. It doesn't hit the head anymore, it doesn't need to, because he claims a frag anyway. Bomb coming from Starkey onto Conduct, but this time he trades with Se7en, so pretty much the best he could have done here. And with Raymond dead once more to drag, I feel like Raymond can't stay alive here. He's not being protected well enough, or just being out of position. I don't know which one it is, but Conduct seems to have more survivability than Raymond.
Absolutely, and AMS is just doing such a good job of cleaning up here. It's it's always really good to just have the scout. Se7en has been pretty quiet on scout whenever he's played it, but you know, he's been doing pretty well overall. So I kind of look forward to see what the logs are there. But Ascent, they're in this really demanding position right now. They need to hold on to the point for a long time, but they're in a good position to do so, especially with Domo going down right now before they can do any kind of suicide. Draxas is going to jump in and gets airshot, or did he airshot himself? I'm not quite sure. Either way, there's sort of, oh no, the scout gets in onto the medic, and actually Connor will have to force here. So everyone's going to die here from Se7en, but that's all part of the plan. It was just all this big suicide wave, and the suicide wave worked. Se7en will now have the uber advantage, and once they have spawners, they will be in a great position to push in here, and they only need to get the point for 18 more seconds, and then they win this.
Thalash was on sniper, but he realized that he needed on scout to help his team the best he could, and now Raymond is gonna have the Uber. I'm expecting an aggressive Uber onto Elacore, but Tiger gets cleaned up by Credu with another headshot from Credu. Uber is being used, and Credu surfs away swiftly. He's out of harm, and Condog is as well. So now it's gonna be probably a better fight for Ascent. They're just walking over the point, trying to claim frags here and there, and they get Domo and Starkey. This is really good once more to get the demo man, especially Domo, who's so confident on this map. And now it's only Raymond and Tiger, no captain anymore, he died, and it's gonna be tough. 45 seconds for Ascent, a pretty big Uber at 60%, and Thalash and the rest of his teammates, they will need to be extremely efficient in that push, trying to kite that Uber, trying to minimize their casualties, and then go back to
Domo, I think Domo just got the body shot or something, because he tried to jump and he just took 1,000,000 damage. But yeah, last time around Ascent kited the Uber really well, but now of course they did also get forced the first time around. It looks like Connor's going to get forced again, so Se7en so that's so huge. That means that Se7en will no longer have the medic. Getting the medic out doing the suicide is a really crucial part of it. But Stark is actually still behind line, so he could get onto Connor, and Connor's half health.
Yeah, and Stark is gonna rely on the help from Thalash and Domo to try to go in, but Domo is only 60 HP, so I doubt he can't really help.
Airshot onto him! Stark gets airshot by Drak. Drak is just fully turned on right now. And Se7en, they're just doing everything they can, and they're actually doing a lot of work, and Connor might just be stuck in here.
But this is actually okay. Yes, 7 cap, but now all Ascent needs to do is to cap it back, and they have better spawners. So this is actually a superb situation from Ascent if they want to take this third round and take this map, because they have better spawners. They're gonna have fighters in middle before Se7en does. Now it's only Thalash and Raymond fighting this. Can he contest the cap? He needs to go, but he can't really. The help is coming, but Blink. Yes, Starkey tried to, but in the end, Ascent takes this, and I think I can recall you said Se7en would win it 3-0.
Oh no, I said 3-0 and nothing else after that. That's what happened.
Okay, I'll give you that one then.
No, don't do it. That's not what happened.
But
yeah.
That was so. I don't think anybody expected such dominant showing from Ascent.
Yeah. Like last time around, these guys played. We saw them both do cookie cutters the entire way through, and then they used Credu, a sniper, in the third round, and they did slightly better, but it still wasn't enough to beat Se7en. And this time around, they just went for the Credu sniper immediately, and they had so much success with it, and Credu was just being an absolute beast. So yeah, that worked out really well, and now it's just a matter of is this going to be a one-map thing, or is it going to carry on into the next maps? But man, I'm so happy I was wrong there, because now we have a real final on our hands, and to tell you a lot more about that, I think we should throw it into our wonderful analyst. So take that away and show us what you thought.
This
Thank
was
you very much, Peter.
really impressive.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh no, shit, sorry. Didn't think you would lead this in.
I thought that was my job. I thought that was, I'm not really here to analyze stuff, am I? Come on. I thought that was your job. I'm just here to talk. But no, that was an incredible match. Not surprised of the scoreline personally, because I felt like if Credu was available to go crazy like he did, it would have changed things up. And I feel like Se7en are really good against the cookie cutter versus cookie cutter product. But as soon as you throw a sniper in the mix, especially a good one like Credu, it can change things dynamically for Se7en, and they did seem like they struggled quite a bit. Ascent had their moments where they were, letting stuff slip, but they did manage to win it 3-on. Now over to you, Dom.
Yeah, like you said, Credu had a really good game. Not even like anything close to the best he's ever done. He's just really consistent this entire game. Hit the shots he needed to. Every time there was a close fight, he just hit one shot and suddenly it was hugely in Ascent's favor out of nowhere. And it came down a lot to those fights, especially on exchanges. When Ascent had the point the first 2 rounds, there were a lot of times Se7en wanted to just go for an exchange, and for a map they picked at the end of the day, their exchanges looked so much less planned out. They just couldn't get anybody out alive in time or get somebody behind or anything. So every time they went for an exchange, it was instantly much, much worse, be it just time-wise or because they lost players. And it just costed them all the opportunities to get back on the point every time it could close. It was only a bit closer towards the first half or so of the last round, where Se7en was in the lead time-wise by like 2 minutes or something, after they beefed the repush onto mid after the mid fight. And that was where Se7en was just winning the M fights outright. And I think you and me, Grumpy, discussed a little bit how the sniper might or might not hold them back in these sort of the M fights right now a little bit, but they still pulled it back in the end. That was like the only moment where Se7en really had good control, and Ascent played well, and the sniper just gave them a lot of space. I argue a little bit too much in a few situations, especially on Connector, which is just a direct consequence of not having a flank scout all the time. They did have Silentis on scout quite a bit, though, to make up for that, but every time there was an opening on Connector, Se7en just took advantage of that. They've been trying to do as much from there as they could, but they played really passive when they needed to around the sniper, and it still worked out brilliantly for the most part.
And actually, speaking about the Ascent roster, Elacor, I'm going to bring Ombrack in on this, just to have a little chat. So, Ombrack, how do you feel like Elacor did on this map versus the first map?
I think after Prolans, I mentioned how it was Elacor's worst map and that he could pull it off on the second. And during cast, we mentioned how he was one of the players who seemed like turning up. And I feel even though his numbers don't really look quite impressive, like they look okay, but not really above the pack, I feel like he did actually so much work to go back into that game and did a lot of space for his team. He had something quite unusual against Se7en, but his stickies were actually quite efficient, which is not that common for him against Se7en, because I feel like usually Se7en knows what to expect from Elacor in terms of sticky traps. And I don't know, I feel like he maybe changed things up, especially for that, like maybe just for that finals. And Domo had some moments where on one-on-one he was better than Elacor, but I think in terms of team play and team fights, I feel like Elacor was much better, especially when he was extremely aggressive. And we saw quite some jumps from him with the Uber trying to take space in high ground, and he felt so confident on that map.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And all in all, it did feel like Ascent were just a lot more confident on this map. I did find it very interesting that Se7en went with product. It doesn't surprise me compared to the upper bracket final, but I do remember when we had the interviews that they were saying that Credu wasn't feeling it. And it does feel like you can kind of see in the way they play, they very much play off what Credu's doing and the picks he's making, and then they try and play off that opportunity that he makes. So I feel like having Credu available for them for the product showed that they are very confident on this map in general. But
maybe actually Credu beefed on purpose in the semifinals, so to hit his plan. I don't know. It's a bit far-fetched, but
next
maybe.
level. Dumb?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the mat stats, which in the last game you could tell that Se7en slowed things down. Connor had almost all the bad stats you don't want to see, but not because they played bad or anything, but because Se7en just slowed things down. They had major advantages lost way too high numbers and stuff like that. And average time before using was like in the hundreds of seconds. And that's something you want to avoid seeing, but Se7en forced it upon them. Product is obviously a different beast, and Ascent was able to control the pace a lot more, so we have none of that. Sure, they have major advantages lost still, but that was because they were on the point, so context is pretty important there if you look at just the numbers here. Meanwhile, if you look at Se7en and Raymond, you just see what I mentioned already, deaths after charge, 3, which means just 3 pushes on even Uber where they traded were just instant death for Raymond afterwards. And Ascent made a really good job to chase them down every single time they went for those. And they got so much mileage out of that, just so much time on a point every single time they were on the point, just extended by Se7en not being able to execute these exchanges.
Can we go back on Raymond flashing these 2 scouts on the point, preventing them from capping? That was what was that? I think we all have in mind that clip from Herpy
Yes,
not capping last the point, but this was on an all new level.
Yeah, they just completely blanked out the time and just were focusing the kills in the extremely worst moment possible. And small errors like this in the correct moment can just decide games completely. I think there was a small moment in Badlands as well where Raymond had like a minor error that cost them quite a bit, where there was an exchange through choke and he wanted to flash Captain, who just jumped away from him and didn't flash Domo behind him, and suddenly just Domo dies. Captain was not on the heals until like way later, so he couldn't do much with Uber forever. And small stuff like this just can mean so much for Minik, and it's just important to not mess those up.
Okay. Now moving on to the third map, we actually have Gullywash. Now we've seen these teams face off against each other on Gullywash, and it was incredibly close. It went down to a golden cap. So, Ombrack, do you guys think maybe Ascent will take the lead off this map, or do you feel like Se7en will be able to personify another lead back into their advantage? Don't all jump at once.
Go ahead, Dom.
I don't know. It's gonna be a weird map for both teams because with how the last map went, they have like a lot of knowledge about how each team plays already that they need to keep in mind. It had its fast moments, it had its slow moments as well, and we saw in Badlands how tough it can be to get out of Last Force sometimes. And Se7en plays on that specifically, which is what they need to keep advantage of. So letting Se7en get the lead is just the worst thing that could possibly happen to Ascent. They need a good start to this map right away.
Yeah, I remember Ams today when he was streaming, he said he wanted to play Gullywash because he liked the map. I think everybody on Se7en likes the map. Silentus has that legacy of never losing Gullywash. We all know how. I guess the legacy is broken now. But Drac is also renowned for how he plays on Gullywash as well. But that was when Drac played for Se7en, so that was a different time, different playstyle. And but yeah, I feel like Gullywash is a good map for Ascent, and I'm pretty sure Se7en didn't expect to lose product, even less 3-0. I mean, that didn't happen really often for Se7en to be so outclassed.
Yeah, it felt outclassed. I think is the right way to describe it. It just felt like they picked it because they won it before, instead of picking it because they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, I think they just didn't expect Ascent to be that good on the map, and like Se7en is a really experiment. They know their stuff, and they won't let such a loss go to their heads. But maybe they will a bit. I don't know. And that's for me, Ascent winning 3-0. It's a bit of not a surprise, maybe a bit of an upset to see them winning in such a fashion. So I wonder if how is Se7en feeling right now, because this is not a situation they're really familiar with.
I think both teams have different mindset right now. Ascent want to keep the momentum up, and Se7en wants to kill that as much as they can. So it just matters who can execute that better, who will get the better entry into the game and be able to dictate the pace the way they want.
I think I think personally it might go like 3-2 to Se7en on this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it back to you, Ombrack, as well as Peter, and you guys run us in because we're about to go live. So have a wonderful time, boys.
So we're back on the third map. The series are tied 1-1. A bit of an unexpected. I think most of us expected Se7en to be in the lead right now with 2 maps against 0. But yeah, Peter, what do you think that third map is going to be like? Because we mentioned maybe Se7en is a bit annoyed at how things went, but this is a good map for them in the end. So it's really a bit hard to tell.
Yeah, I think this is going to probably be the best map yet, just because everyone likes this map in the server, basically, right? Everyone wants to play this map, it's even, and everyone should just be super motivated and super hyped, and this is before fatigue begins to set in, so now they're fully warmed up and ready. I have guessed it perfectly and got it as wrong as you could possibly be, so I'm going to go ahead and guess 3-2 in favor of Ascent here. I'm feeling the Ascent hype train right now. How about you, Ombrack?
I think Ascent as well, because we've seen Credo hitting shots on Sniper, and I mean Gullywash is a pretty sniper-friendly map, so maybe we can see some of that as well. And Credo is already on Sniper, so maybe this is exactly what's going to happen. But let's see how that mids unravel. Someone is already on drop down Starkey. I don't think he's going to go for it. He actually goes for it, and Elako doesn't know about it. Gets one rocket, and Credo died as well on the flank from Captain. Raymond gets Condog with a narrow. I think that was a bit of a lucky shot, but in the end, what's done is done, and
But AMS comes in at the very end there and actually takes down the medic. That is such a huge play. Drac is stuck somewhere with 1 HP, but that doesn't matter because what a clutch play from AMS.
I think nobody watched him because everybody was looking behind on to like Drac where Drac was, and I'm just took that opportunity to walk over point. Credo wasn't Sniper, didn't got the chance to do anything because Captain was on his case, trying to avoid to replicate what happened on product. That is giving Credo way too much space. Starkey is on Spy, and because we're not at land, I can yell that Starkey is on Spy, guys. And this is the first time we're seeing a Spy play, an offensive Spy play, I think. Oh no, Amps was on Spy, but it didn't really work this way. So maybe Starkey's gonna turn the tides around. Drac died main, trying to spam onto Talash, and I don't think they know about Starkey. But the more the time is gonna tick, the more likely a Spy is gonna be. So Starkey will need to act quickly, otherwise he's gonna be spotted.
Everyone's standing on top of these stairs and he's just going to eventually walk around the other way, but they're so close to bumping into him. But currently everyone's just really preoccupied by the fact that the sentry gun is being spammed out. And it looks like they are actually going to trade out some things, and this is actually probably a good thing for Se7en, because that makes them less likely to suspect the Spy. Like, obviously, Tiger could spawn on Spy, so they need to take that into consideration. Probably need to move before that. But so far, Starkey has not been able to actually get behind the medic. He has never been able to get beyond them, because they just keep on wiggling in this corner and just taking up all the space.
And maybe there was a tactical feat from Tiger, we'll never know. But in the end, Starkey eventually made his way to the spawn door. This is the position he was looking for, and now he's gonna wait for his team to make some space for him so he could go and backstab Condog. But Condog is having his back against the wall. Starkey is going in. He gets Condog was gets Elako as well.
3K.
Condog was looking at him. He gets Credo, and now it's the push from Se7en onto Riverside. They don't have to use their River. Starkey is 1 HP. He lives. That's crazy. And now it's only Drac jumping on the Riverside, but that play from Starkey was out of this world.
That's the second time I can recall him getting a 3K in like a huge pressure map on Spy. That is absolutely insane. Gets 2 backstabs. He played it perfectly there, and no one suspected anything from Ascent. He just went in there, got 2 backstabs, got a pistol kill, and it was just all curtains from there. Se7en will take this first round off of that incredible play, and let's just hope for them that the mids can go a little bit better here, because it was messier last time.
Credo is back on Sniper, so maybe he has another plan, but Silentius dies right away. He tried to bombing, but nobody really helped him, and Elakor gets another one, he gets a frag onto Captain. Domo's walking over point, punishing Drac and Tiger on the backline. Yes, Credo as well. Credo is not looking like he's lucky to hit the shots this time, and now it's only Amps and Condog against Domo and Tiger. It's unwise to keep this fight going. Amps, he knows about it, even Amps knows it, and they're living. Condog is alive, he has a slight ab, but it's really unlikely that he's aware of that, and I wonder, Peter, I don't think Credo is the Credo Sniper is the solution right now.
It definitely didn't do anything on that middle, standing in big door, and he didn't really have anyone protecting him either. But look at his play in big door. We've had Tiger run behind because that's what he does, and he immediately finds Elakor, who was just standing inside. So he hadn't been called there very obviously, and now Se7en going to be at a huge advantage trying to push the second.
The captain died, so the plan from Se7en is probably unlikely to happen, and Credo kills Starkey on the middle point, so now everybody from Se7en is pretty much either on big door or behind. Only Talash is watching choke, and he can be pushed quite easily. Domo knows about it, so Domo has to reset onto middle point, and getting that front Captain then on Starkey was really important here. Tiger is getting a 2v1 on last, can't get anything about against Credo, and the bomb was coming as well. I guess Talash pushed choke alone, and Condog had to use a really poor Uber here because
They have to give up a lot of ground here. Domo is just walking forward. Maybe he's gonna trap Elako, who knows? And Kondok, both of them are getting trapped onto Big Dog. Kondok can escape onto lobby, but he needs to realize he has to leave because this is looking really, really grim now. Ams is trapped behind point, can't get a frag, neither can Tredu, and that Uber trade looked really questionable because Ascent gave up so much ground onto Choke.
They lost so much space because they sent back a scout actually help Elko get out of spawn because Tiger was behind line. So that Tiger play just did so much work. Then Tiger's in the water here as well. He will end up trading there with Se7en. So
Raymond was on the pipe, but he missed each up. It fell down, and now Ams gets the frag.
No.
That's so unfortunate. Raymond was just kind of a beef here, and now Nobo is dead as well. It's only Starkey and Talash. Both of them are in lobby. One is on the riverside now. They're trying to go maybe last try to do a decoy play, but Credu is on the case. He's getting two shot by Talash, so rip Credu. But yeah, that play from Raymond was a bit unfortunate because Ams, as soon as he saw Raymond falling onto the ground, just W on his face and he got the frag. So now it's gonna be a 70% Uber rat for Kondog, and this time the river play is gonna be efficient because Ams is with Kondog. They're gonna try to maybe take that Uber. Ams is getting bullied back by Starkey and Captain, but eventually he takes the space, and Se7en probably will have to give up that point with Starkey dying as well.
It's really nice there to get a kill. We can see Captain is threatening to do the back cap, but he is eventually going to get dealt with. He does end up trading with someone else, but as it is Ascent, they still are one person up, and they got the Uber advantage, and they get second without getting back cap. So they're just going to jump in here super aggressively. They're dealt with the sticky traps. No one's hiding in skyboxes or anything, so they're getting to move in here, and looks like they are actually going to get there. But Raymond, it kind of looks like he wants to maybe exchange here, but they end up deciding not to do that. So they're going to go out through this choke. Even Ubers, things have just normalized, but Ascent, they did manage to use their Uber advantage there to buy 2 points basically from their opponents.
This time again, Se7en was smart enough, I'm gonna say, to go back without really committing bodies, and even though they lose 2 points effectively, they didn't got sent to use their Uber on them, so they didn't lose Raymond, and now the Ubers are gonna be even. Se7en is still on the lead, so it's pretty much up to Ascent to do anything as Elako spots the stickies from Domo onto Big Door, and he knows he can't really walk forward now, and the Captain and Talash are both watching Choke to prevent any flank play, any bomb from Drac or Se7en. But the bomb is coming from Big Dog from Drac. He's getting picked up by Tiger right as he shows the tip of his rocket launcher, and now it's going to be another reset. I'm expecting Tiger's picking on Big Dog, but he can't do anything. And is anyone going to go back to spawn to pick up an up class, or is it going to be another one? Another time the cookie cutter lineup, we'll see. But it feels like Drac is going to spawn, and nobody's going to pick any off class. So Bitter, this is the first, not the second stalemate, but the first time that Ascent is having the control of the middle point.
Indeed, and it was actually pretty interesting before to see how Se7en was just playing in Big Door really aggressively. Like, that was their hold. Medic was holding underneath basically the ramp, or whatever you want to call it, the balcony. And it's going to be another Big Door, because Big Door is the best place to make plays when you're holding middle. You can run players behind it, and that's actually what they try to do here. We send in AMS and Se7en, and they both get taken down. So just Se7en's insistence of just holding Big Door is actually just what allows them to deny that, and now they've got the force out of Connor.
And Conduct the ass to escape. Elak was probably going to be taken down onto Big Door. No, he actually escaped because nobody was really on the chase, and that Uber situation is probably the best that Ascent could have hoped for, because they only gave up the middle point and didn't got wiped, but now they need to hold this choke a bit tighter, and Ams is on Spy. He's trying to be as successful as Starkey was a couple minutes ago. And this is pretty much the only option that Ascent has right now, because their Uber are even.
So they immediately
do they
shoot
know?
AMS.
They know. Oh,
yeah, he just passed it around perfectly there to catch the first spam rocket of a soldier. That's really unfortunate. Luckily, though, as for Ascent, AMS didn't really commit or anything, but Tiger has once again gone behind. So now I think we're going to see a scout duel, because AMS is in spawn. Yeah. Scout duel in here. The captain actually going to get taken down, and we go AMS versus Tiger. Who will be the superior scout? AMS going to just play it smart here, but this is a fight to behold, as Tiger's just behind lines, and actually Drax going to be in here again.
3 players went back for Tiger, and not Starkey. He has all the way he needs to go into that double bomb onto Condor. Gets one rock, can't quite connect the other, and Amps went back to the rescue and got the frag, but
3 players went back for Thagger, and eventually Thagger goes back to middle. But that was a bit risky decision here to send 2 scouts and 1 soldier to clean up Thagger. And Starkey knew that perfectly. He almost got he got 1 rocket. If he was able to hit that 2nd rocket, it would have been a perfect play here for Se7en. And Starkey was extremely successful. He's now checking for off classes, and he's opening the door so Thalash can go on sniper. And we haven't seen much of Thalash sniping until now. He was sniper at some point on product, but he went back to scout because it was a better option. So this is the first time we're going to effectively see Thalash on the sniping rifle.
Should be very interesting. Obviously, there's so many good snipers on Se7en's team. It's basically comical. Like the last Tiger and Stark are all top tier snipers. It's basically only Credo who can give them a run for their money, and yet we don't see them playing that much sniper either way, because Scout is just so good. But Se7en, they're just trying to buy space here in Big Door, and they actually get something out of it immediately. So Thalash will win this sniper duel with Credo, and immediately Tiger begins running behind lines. He will eventually back off here, but they're just constantly fishing for him to get that opening.
And look at Se7en, they pretty much, except Stark Captain, they're all in the Big Door area. They're taking 1-on-1 onto Drag. Drag has to commit, and Thalash died to Ela, who was a bit too greedy and picked. The Uber is being used onto Amps, but Raymond finally uses it, but he milked so hard, and now it's way much better. Uber, Tiger still behind, get cleaned up by Silentes, but this looks so much better now for Se7en. Amps juking with 6 HP manages to leave. That whole situation was way better for Se7en, and they got that point, and Thalash didn't die as well, so he's still on sniper. And Tiger is actually doing so much work, always running. You mentioned how he's running behind, and he's doing so much for Se7en right now.
It almost feels like Ascent didn't quite realize how much Se7en committed to that Big Door, because technically they could have just run like a scout and a soldier through the choke, right? And there's completely just overwhelmed Captain. There's not like a whole lot he could have done about that. But they didn't realize, and that's kind of the thing about TF2, it's a game of incomplete information. And you can take these kind of chances, and I really love seeing these things being played out. And Se7en, they've shown very much before that also they're very good at running players behind. Looks like Thalash will go down here on the balcony, and now Se7en, they're just trying their best to not allow any counter jumpers to come in here, but it looks like no one was really in a position there anyway for Ascent. So Amos, he's on Spy. I'm not sure if he's just checking or if he's actually going to walk out of spawn. He has walked out of spawn, all right. We've actually seen him very often before just hide or up in the lobby, so he likes to sit on the little ramp in the lower area. He's actually going to sit in that corner where you usually hide when you're the aggressive team, right?
And Thalash died because he tried to do a hero shot. He went back to scout, so I'm assuming he didn't really believe in his chances to hit that shot, and he just decided to take that risk as soon as he could. Amps is still here. He's uncloaked, and he hasn't been spotted yet. Captain is on his case, and he got the frag with the help of Thalash. So now it's going to be interesting to see what Se7en decides to play. I see Starkey already going under the point, but he's getting met by Drag. They cleaned up each other, so nothing.
Tiger's on it as well. Oh, he actually gets taken down by the sentry gun. All right, sneaky. That worked out for them. So hold on, my computer's crashing. Take over.
And the 4 people down, 2 people down on each team. 4 people would be too much. They got the gun though, so maybe Domo is trying to see if he can take space onto that shutter door, but no, he's just ticking it up. Credo still building that gun up to maybe level 2 soon. Still no off classes for Se7en. They got 2 people dying, but they didn't decide to go for any off classes. 16 minutes left in that game, and pretty much up to Se7en to do anything here to break that hole, because Ascent, I mean, yes, they're losing, but they can't really do anything. Thagger is still behind the point. I don't think he's been spotted. He's trying to get some cap time, maybe some space as well from Starkey. The gun is getting down, and maybe this is the opportunity now that Se7en needed, but
Stark misses the skip jump there. But Se7en, they definitely have a plan here, right? They send Tiger into the water. That's super annoying, so that immediately got them enough space to take down the sentry gun, and then once the sentry gun is in, they have even more space, and then eventually they went for the skip jump in from Stark there in Riverside. He just failed it, so he didn't get in far enough, and now we're going to see a small push out here from Ascent, but they're not really many people up. I think they're just trying to get Credo a good angle.
Yeah, Credo is on sniper, he's on top trying to see if he can spot Raymond, but he can't really, and they have to go back because Drag died, so that's 1 less player to make an effective hold, so they have to go back. Credo switches right away to Pyro. He knows he can't do much on Sniper here unless he commits really hard and probably puts himself at risk. So now they go back. Another river play from Tiger and Starkey, but the Pyro has spotted them, so they went back straight as they've been spotted. And looks like Se7en, they don't really know what to do right now. They're just trying to see how it's like to play Riverside, but they don't want to commit too hard on this. And because they've seen when they lost 2 soldiers, Ascent tried to push out of Riverside, so they know if they have too many people committed and dying, Ascent will try to make a push out. So do you decide to bait them to push out, or just try to make something really efficient on last? This is pretty much what Se7en needs to decide right now.
Yeah, they're currently just trying to spam down the sentry gun, but there's a Pyro there. He will eventually run out of ammo because there's not a dispenser there. And look how weak this gun is. Oh! A missed reflect. I'm not sure if Credo doesn't have enough ammo or what's going on. And Drag actually goes super weak as well. And once again, Tiger has run into water. Ascent has been really good at shutting that down and making sure that that's not an issue. But, you know, it is only half the issue. And Stock, once again, yeah, he just is perfectly predicted there by Elecor, who will just take him down with a nice sticky trap. So Ascent, they're doing a really good job of just denying this. And they seem to just be completely on top of everything that Se7en is trying to do here to break this. So they might have to just break out the sniper once again. Or maybe do quickie bomb shenanigans, or just exchange Ubers. Like that's something I haven't seen in ETF2L in many seasons. Like teams just exchanging.
Starkey checked for classes in spawn, but he didn't stuck on that spy and decided to go back to soldier. So I don't know, maybe some kind of the start of a plan is trying to.
Thalassus made it in. He was scout. He ran in through main, so now he's hiding in secret.
They haven't spotted him.
Oh, that is so sneaky. He can run onto point at any point, and it is not sticky.
And he needs to coordinate with his teammate. He's trying to go for point, and the sticky is from Domo. Nobody can contest that. That was so close for the cap to be completed. Dragon Nabs died as well, and Domo is now stuck on the spawn door with 18 HP. But nobody really wants to clean him up because it's only Elacor and Condor right now. They need to be cautious about the cap. Starkey is jumping in, he's forcing the Uber. Domo died to Credo, but in the end, that's a way better situation for Se7en because they haven't used their own Uber and there's no gun in sight. So now they just have to wait for the spawners and to try to go into that last with a fully charged Uber. And I don't see any gun try to be built right now. Arms is going here, but I doubt he has time to get his gun to level 3. So Se7en, if they take this quickly enough, they will have a superb opportunity to make that a 2-0. Sago has spotted the gun. No Pyro. See, Credo is finally on Pyro. No heavy though, so maybe it's now the time to go in for Se7en. They're taking the time, but they're going through that shutdown now. Uber still is used by onto Talash. The gun's going down. Credo has to hide his spawn. Nobody plays the point though. Elako is uncontested under the cap, and nobody's really trying to go for that stickies. They're just trying to bully Ascent onto the spawn and try to go for spawn for the last after. There's a heavy in the hands of Credo, but it didn't really do anything. And look at Se7en, they're almost spawn camping without getting any frag. No, a lot of cap time, but Elako can't do anything against 3 players. And that was a really slow push, but in the end, Se7en looked so methodical once more. Pretty much what we've seen on Trolllands earlier.
Yeah, it was very close to not work though, because Elako was doing a really good job of actually holding water while everyone else from his team was just stuck in spawn. And just a second or two more, and that would have just been an opportunity wasted there from Se7en. But we were getting on to them that they were just not being able to get anything working, but just a really creative play by the last allows them to take the second round.
And Credo on this third middle is not on sniper, is there to clean up the frag, but Tiger climbed from drop down, I believe. Or did he just run past Stroke? I don't know, but he got the frag onto Condog, and Raymond is free from harm into lobby, so it's gonna be an Uber ride for Se7en. And now for Ascent, this is gonna be a bit tricky because do they push without their Uber ride?
Salentis is behind lines, and that's actually him and the scout are both standing on the med kit. Alright, it's finally spawned, but it might be a bit too late. Stark is super weak, and I don't think they realize, okay, they do realize AMS actually picks him off, so Se7en, they actually endure quite a lot of pressure here, but they do eventually manage to just stave it all off, and they're going to be ready to push in onto middle here. There's no way they're not going to try to push in here. There's very few players alive from Ascent that can really get there in time to be fully buffed, and there we go. I think it's just going to be a matter of Ascent getting out alive or not.
Drake is trying to go in, but he got annihilated through the air by Tiger, and now it's going to be another, like the Uber ad is still up for Se7en. They try to make their way through choke without even having completed the middle cap. Se7en died on the shutter door, and it's gonna be really hard now because Ams is dead as well, so Conduct needs to go back and make sure to get his Uber in time. But look at Se7en, they're already making their way through that shutter door really soon. They're gonna try to make that Uber ad count. It's getting slimmer though. Conduct has 95, they don't commit the charge, they try to go for point, and they get the force onto Conduct for no real reason. Captain dies, but this is superb again for Se7en because the Conduct didn't really have to use his Uber, but he did so. So now Raymond has a really big Uber ad.
And even Stark managing to get out alive here is just so huge. We see a double scout aggression up on the top here, desperately trying to make some sort of play happen. But Eliko goes down. There's going to be no one on the point. Oh no.
Look, all the people from Ascent are either behind or nowhere to be seen on lab. So I don't really know what was the plan here, but Se7en, that was a really quick run for them, and they just played around the mistake from Ascent here. No master plan in mind for Se7en, I believe. They just says Ascent played this badly, I think.
Yeah, playing by ear has definitely been something that's working out for Se7en really well here. Like, you kind of get the feel that the last play, that was not really something that they planned. Getting a lot of these Uber forces out and then re-pushing and wrapping around is not the plan. So, you know, on these mids, is that going to be better? Because that usually involves a plan.
The bomb from Captain hurts Conduct, but doesn't really quite take him out. Raymond is so weak. Under the point is 21 HP, and this is probably a middle for Ascent. Drag claims the frag onto Raymond, and that was way better now for Ascent. Tiger is the only one left alive, and is behind in the backline. Maybe he can try to pick up Eliko when he spawns, so to nullify the demo influence on the second push. But now Conduct lives, so this is quite an upgrade for Ascent, considering what we've seen so far, and maybe some kind of comeback for Ascent.
Oh, it's definitely possible. There's plenty of time, and Tiger did some failed jump there, and also the fact that Eliko spawned together with Se7en just made it a lot safer to actually move out of spawn. They would have had a 2v1 on their hand, but you know, Tiger, he's still behind line to definitely know it. They currently have a single scout just spotting for it, but Uber has already come in here.
Yeah, and Domo is under the point. He's getting boinged by Drac, who cleans him up. No stickies anymore on point. Captain is trying to fight this, but he's getting fought by Se7en. Talash is there as well, and the backup is coming from Tiger. Can he get this in time? He actually can!
He got it!
He was alone. He was the only one left alive, but players from Ascent didn't play the point enough, or just got contested well enough by Se7en, and in the end, Tiger saved it, but maybe that was just a slight delay, slight hiccups for Ascent, because he's still the only one up alive. Conduct has a 50% Uber rad, no heals. It's effectively 4 players holding for Se7en right now. And a gun, so that's 4.5. 5.
They could just wait for the Uber advantage. I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to do. And if they could even deal with Tiger behind lines as well, that would be nice. But actually, they're just pushing onto point really aggressively here. They need to be careful not to lose Connor. And so far, they haven't done that, but they're actually doing a dot push.
Oh, Tiger is... Oh, he was so weak, but he got arrowed by Raymond. Uber is just by Conduct onto the point, try to get some cap time. They almost got it, and maybe they can get it if they can manage to push everyone up the point. It's only Se7en, he claims 2 frag. Gets another one. What a play from Se7en. That Uber was extremely well, it was so efficient.
Shoot ground, get kill. That's basically what that Uber was like. It was a single soldier standing on point. It was a really nice job there by Connors to take off the Uber to put onto the point. So Se7en, they had to get on it, and then Se7en just shot the ground to the best of his ability, and eventually people just blew up, and a single scout came in to help. And that's going to make it 3-1. 7 minutes remaining. Ascent in this.
Drac once more trying to play drop down. He hasn't been spotted. No, Talash knows he's there, but he's getting helped by Se7en. So Talash just goes down to both holders from Ascent. Raymond died as well from Se7en. And this mid looks really good now for Se7en. The bomb is coming from Captain onto Conduct, but Eliko gets another frag. He got 2 with the one onto Domo. And
he got Connor, stuck Connor with the very end there. It was going so well for Ascent. They were just basically doing what Se7en did on the first map on Badlands, where they just had everyone just stay on the low ground and just waiting for everyone else to feed into them, and Tiger's gone behind again. Man, this guy's so annoying. Eventually he does go down. All right, and there we go. So, getting that medic pick that late was super important for Se7en.
And now Ascent, Ubers are quite even. They try to fight onto the second point, but 2 of them are really weak, and maybe they have to go back. They're all getting spammed out by Domo. Really nice play here from Domo, but the bomb is coming from Se7en. Claims the frag. Now it's only Talash in choke against 3 players. He chases Conduct. He got the frag onto Conduct. How did he escape that? I don't know. He was 3 players against Talash, and Talash is still alive. And now it's a complete crumble for Ascent. And I feel like Domo and Talash did so much to win this fight.
They did indeed. There were some pretty decent fights going on all over the place, but just eventually, just those two players were going using. Oh, look at where Drac is. He has not been spotted over the choke. He's actually just going to find himself in the face of another soldier. That's pretty funny. So he doesn't get anything for his troubles there. And I think they're just trying to get some spam on. And once again, AMS, he's hiding up here in lobby. This is his prime position where he likes to hide. And he needs to go play quick.
Get the frag onto Captain, but is this enough for Ascent to hold this? Because the Uber has been used by Raymond. Talash wins his one-on-one onto the point, gets another frag. And yeah, and I don't think Amps playing on Spy was the correct play here, because all Se7en had to do was rushing straight to the last point.
It was definitely a desperation play, and it just didn't work out in time. Se7en, they were just playing too fast there. It basically required Se7en to make a mistake there, and they've been really good in these transition situations so far on Gullywash. You can really tell that they like this map, and they've been very tight on it so far.
And it's only 5 minutes now when Ascent need 3 rounds to go back into that game. They need to make this quickly happen. Captain died onto a bomb onto Condog, so maybe this is the opportunity Ascent needs, but look at Track! Pushed into the air, but the shotgun from the scattergun from Thagger, and but in the end, eventually that mid goes to Ascent, and they need to make their way through choke. But Domo doesn't quite agree with that play, because he just punishes everyone who was trying to go into choke, leading up to Amps being completely cut from the rest of his teammates. And now it's only 3 players against 5. Ascent, do they go stay in, taking the risk of losing the map, or do they go back? They're going back, they have the Uber, but this is going to be really tight for them to make it back.
It's either being very standoffish here in choke. They're leaving the big door very much exposed, but they are taking the fight here in this choke. Oh my god, Eliko got a massive air sticky onto Stocky. Just pops him into the air and just hits him with the perfect air sticky. Beautiful, and they're going to go to the exchange.
Uber is being used onto, no, it's not Amps, of course, it's Silentes, and Raymond finally uses his own Uber, but it looks not like nothing really happened here. Captain is a bit stuck in choke. He's getting juggled by Stickies and Rocket. He eventually died, and now Ascent is trying to make their way through choke. Elako is hitting a nice fight onto Talash, and Domo dies as well. So maybe this is actually really good now, because it's only Raymond. He's being stuck. I don't know how that exchange worked for Ascent, but in the end it was so good, and juggling Captain into that choke was probably the saving grace here.
Absolutely, and Ascent, they need to hurry. They have about 3 minutes to get 3 rounds, so they need to hurry. There was a heavy in spawn, but he will switch back here. Probably a smart move. Se7en, they just need to delay as much as possible. We see Tiger up on Pyro. We see the sentry going up from Thalash. It's not going to be level 3 by the time this comes in. But Ascent, they can basically just dot push this. Hopefully they don't get sniped, and then they will have an Uber in there really quickly. And that's going to be basically the best hope. But oh no, Eliko is so close to going down. That was very close to being a disaster.
Ooh, and Amps cleans up Captain. This is really, really good. But the Pyro from Thagger completely nullifies that Uber. This is tragic. Thagger eventually dies, but he wasted all the Uber from Ascent. The 2 of 7 players are dead now, so Ascent, they need to commit before they get Raymond with the Elakor. Now they try to play point. Domo is really weak. If they can get him, they probably can get the cap. It's only Talash, only Stacky now behind cap. He's getting a rocket, but he can't do much more. And with 2 minutes and 30 seconds, Ascent maybe can do it. They need 2 rounds to make it a tie. They can't win anymore. They just can make it a tie.
And this is possible. This is actually possible still, but they need to be super quick. And this is just a matter of getting on point as quickly as possible. And Se7en, they just need to get 1 good mid fight in here. And that's all they need to win this. So they are so close to getting up on this round, but Ascent, they have shown that they are not going out without a fight.
The double bomb is coming from Captain, and Starkey onto the medic. They claim, I think they got they actually got track. I think they were looking for the medic, but they got the soldier instead. So it's not
Domo's
really what they were
though.
looking for. And now it's 2v3 with the heals. Domo is alone. He's jumping onto Condor. Gets so sicky. It was so close to hitting that pipe, but Credo claims the frag, and this is precisely, exactly what Ascent needs. They have the crit, they need to be so efficient with that, they can't beat this, and Elako will need to hit the stickies of his life.
There's one opportunity here. They need to just be absolutely perfect, and so far they have, there's still 30 seconds until it's impossible, and they're just gonna go into...
The crit is happening, it's balcony. He can't hit anything with the first one. He gets Saga, he gets the NG with the sentry gun. He's level 3, that's the power. The sentry gun is down. Raymond died as well. They need to play point. 3 players up for 7. It's 4 against 3, but they have no heals. Can they claim frags? It's only Captain and Talash. Talash reflects a rocket. They get the
medic
point.
gets it.
1 minute. Glitzer, can they do it?
I don't know if 1 minute is possible, but Ascent, that was 1 minute what they just did. This is so nail biting. Oh my god, that's crazy. it's just actually going to be super close. I think it's very close to being impossible, but there's like a slight chance if they just like max out their efficiency here, they can actually get it. But Ascent, they need to be perfect, and Se7en need anything here to slow them down.
Se7en doesn't play mid, and I think this is the correct play, because if you don't wipe on middle, you can't fight. Silentus died from being a bit too eager on big door, and I think doubling the middle is actually what saved Se7en. Domo gets a frag onto Ams with a sticky, and now Elako dies as well, and yes, this is it. The third map goes to Se7en, and who knew that not going to middle is the winning play?
Yeah, they get this map. Se7en absolutely just maybe, I don't even know if not going to mid was the right play, but just the fact that they got Silentus in the choke there definitely cemented it as made it something that worked out. But I will say, sure, Se7en, they got this map. They're up 2-1 in maps now. They need one more to win this grand final. But Ascent, they have the momentum right now. Like, no doubt about it. They just won 2 rounds in 2 minutes. And they're definitely looking like if they just take fights, they can just out-DM them and outplay them through sheer aggression. And Se7en, they've had trouble just standing up against this throughout the entire series. So I am not feeling safe for Se7en here at all.
Yeah, who knew when you're in the league 2-1, but the momentum goes to the other team. And I mean, if you're a bit deceiving right now, I think when you're Se7en, it's probably time to go get a smoke and break the momentum from Ascent. Because if you go into that fourth map right from as it is now, it's going to be bad for Se7en, but we'll let our analysts take it away and see what they have to say about that third map, because that was a hell of a third map. Grumpy, this is yours. Is Grumpy there?
Grumpy is apparently not there, so I'm
So
just
Dom
gonna...
will take it.
I do apologise. I did not realise I was muted. I just started talking to myself. But what a nail-biting end to that map. It was so good to see Ascent bring that aggression, that momentum forward, which is absolutely amazing. And Dom, how were you feeling after that? We were kind of sitting there chilling out. It looked very much like Se7en were in control, and we were just kind of being lethargic. And all of a sudden, Ascent men start bringing that speed, start bringing that aggression, and it got really close in the end.
Yeah, it was a lot like Badlands, especially early on, except that eventually Ascent found the answer to a lot of the things that went wrong on mid as well, where they struggled early on to like get the soldiers in any good position and people over the point in any way that was safe without dying immediately, which just didn't work early on, but it just started clicking later on, but maybe just that bit too late. And I said before, you can't let Se7en get the lead, or else this is gonna go this way every time. And I also mentioned that I'm really impressed every time I see Se7en on Gullywash. Like, Ascent, for all it's worth, can be better on any point, but the way Se7en plays last, when they're the ones pushing, is just really, really beautifully executed every time. They put, like, high pressure from, like, every direction. Like, soldier spamming from river on the sentry, they have somebody in main to watch that, obviously. A scout, usually Tiger under the point, pressure that, and the moment something distracts enough onto Ascent, the play onto corner is just in immediately, and even if that doesn't get the force out, then there's just the point play as well at the same time that can't be ignored. And the one time Fanash was just having perfect timing through main as well to get in unnoticed into secret, wait for the opportunity, they spam down the gun, start playing like they want to force, and then in the meantime, without anybody noticing, Flash was already on the point and the round was immediately over.
I really personally like that play, because everyone expects the water push. Like, that's the default, is to send your scout through water. And they did try it a bunch of times, Se7en, and it did work for them very well. But it's like having that extra opportunity to go through main, go in that sneaky area, and then actually be able to go straight onto point just all of a sudden, completely threw Ascent off on some of their last pushes. But Beta, how are you feeling post-game?
I'm feeling really conflicted because it feels like Se7en obviously got a really key victory, but as I mentioned, all of the momentum just seems to be on Ascent's side. And like, if you're Ascent, you almost got to be kicking yourself for not just starting rolling earlier, you know? Like, they had so many advantages here, and I want to say this is one of the most interesting logs I've seen in a long time, because you can learn so much from just looking at these. And probably the biggest takeaway is that Se7en won the first 2 mids, and then they're all Ascent after that. So that kind of gives you an idea of the flow of this game.
Yeah, and like, it's so close. Look at that. 93 kills to 96 kills, Beta. And the damage, there is only 102 damage between the two teams.
It's
That's
insanely close. And curiously enough, Connor actually had 7 deaths to Raymond's 10. So he actually had the better game there. And he even had 4 kills. They're just out damaging him by 4 times there. And somehow he only had 1 drop as well. And this is Connor we're talking about. So a great game from Connor. And it just wasn't quite enough. But
look at the stats on Se7en though, going 10k damage during that game.
yeah,
That's pretty impressive, especially in some of the situations he was in. He was doing some really good spam play, but he was also being a bit of a bully to the opponent team. What I could see is he was trying to get his face in there, get really stuck in, and I felt like Se7en did feel the impact of that when he was making those plays.
Curiously enough, he didn't even get top heals on his team, slightly out-healed by Alakur, still taking top damage though by quite a bit of a difference, and he did die a lot more for it in the end. I feel like if you want to lead like that as a pocket soldier, you kind of need more heals. He could have probably stayed alive a lot more if he played closer to Connor and Alakur in the certain situations, which made a difference, but in the end, just he still got the damage in. So as long as everybody plays with it perfectly, which at least sometimes happens, especially obviously at the end, it makes a lot of a difference. But again, Se7en just had the early lead and just played the stalemates incredibly well to let as little as possible happen at any moment.
But comparing him to his opponent Captain, you can see that like the damage taken, he did have top damage taken at 322 damage a minute, but it was 317 for Captain, and I felt like Se7en was able to put that, that soaking of damage into a little bit more use than Captain was. Captain was very lucky because during that game he had his team with him, who like Starkey and Thalash did some really good work, as well as Tiger, just creating all of these little, especially on last, like their lasts. You mentioned it. Any other part of the map, it's like Ascent are doing pretty well, but when it comes to last, Se7en just have full control on their last pushes, and they're very efficient at doing it. I wish we had a conversion rate to see how many last pushes they attempted and how many actually went through for them, because it felt pretty high.
Yeah, it was pretty much perfect for Se7en in this game. Same with Badlands, to be honest. Like, it takes them forever to get anything started, but once they know what they want to do, it works in a matter of a single, times the second one, where they just abuse the fact that there's so much cap time on last already perfectly, and it just goes from there. And speaking of Captain again, who obviously had to do much less than Se7en because he was not really the leader or playmaker as much as Se7en was for his team. You mentioned as well beforehand that Tiger was constantly behind lines, distracting. There was a moment where he dragged 3 people back at the same time, and they just barely didn't get forced onto Con at the same time because they only wanted to commit a single player to it, which is really unfortunate. But stuff like that just happens so often, and just put Ascent into like threatened situations, time despite being on the back foot, without Se7en being the ones having to take too many risks at the same time, which is really weird. But somehow they pull it off where they can be in the comfortable spot while still making plays.
Yeah, and let me just grab this for a second because we are going to be going live on the second map, and I'm super excited for this. It's Snakewater, and the matches between these two on Snakewater have been great. The radio cast I got to do was absolutely insane. So we're going to pass it back over to Ombrack and Beta. They're going to take it away on this. You guys have a wonderful time.
And the 4th map of this series, Beta, and if Se7en takes it, they take it home. They take the title of Season 31 Premiership. And you mentioned momentum. It was funny to see that Ascent was ready to go 2 to 3 minutes before Se7en was. So yeah, that momentum is actually a thing.
That's definitely not a coincidence. They want to just go because they are feeling it right now. And the longer Se7en can just slow this down and live up to their names, not their namesake, but their reputation here, the better off. It's kind of like when you take a timeout in any kind of football game or whatever have you, right? Because the enemy team is just doing really well, so you just take a timeout to hope to break their flow. And hopefully for Se7en, Ascent are out of that flow right now. But I think Ascent have a really good chance of taking this. They obviously beat Se7en on this map before. It is possible for them to do so. Se7en, they are in for a very rough match here, I believe, and it's going to be a long game for them, and it's going to be a tough ride. But we are on this first middle. It could be the last map of the tournament, but who knows?
Could be actually the last middle if we see a 1-0 round or something. And the first frag goes to Starkey, who gets Credo onto the kitchen. And Raymond died as well to Drac, who was behind. He gets 2 frags, he gets Thalash as well. And now everybody for 7, they are trying to commit to get Kondog, and he's out already on the second point. Tago is chasing, he's trying to get onto Elakur. The bomb from Captain is happening, gets 1 rocket, and Kondog gets 2. Gets only a splash in that second rocket, and Kondog can leave, can escape. And now Domo is gonna die as well. Underpass. It gets cleaned up. That was really close from Captain. Had he connect that second rocket, that would have been a frag. And now Starkey is gonna hide onto the choke. He's been spotted by Amsi, and Amsi gets the frag with Starkey killing himself. But that was a really good mid here for a 7. And even though Raymond died, and eventually that follow up on Kondog wasn't really as good as it could have been. And in the end, Ascent takes that first middle, and this is just gonna be complementing their momentum.
It was really nice there by Ascent. They realized what was going on. They needed to go back there, and they just picked off players one by one. So it's really well played there by them. And Se7en, they're not really able to find anything here. Ascent, they're completely on top of everything, and they had a small Uber advantage, but they are not quite able to get in until last in time for that. Raymond's about 5% off here. So now it's just a curious case of what will Ascent do, and they're just going to Uber in.
And the Uber is being used on the shuttle double. Raymond got his Uber right in time. The sentry has been put down as well, and Amps died as well as Elacor. So now it's gonna be a probably retreat for Ascent. And we mentioned on ProLens that sometimes they were a bit slow to go in the momentum and try to take space, and this is exactly what happened here. They allowed Raymond to get his Uber in time. Thalash died to Silentus, who was just hiding. And now Se7en needs to go back. Uber are even, so no ad whatsoever here, and maybe Silentus will allow enough class, but no, look at the center, trying to take space already. The comedic Drac gets a frag onto Starkey. He gets another one onto Tiger. What a direct hit onto the head of the scout, and now they're trying to play the point. Domo is only 1 up alive. They're getting cleaned up. What a burst from Ascent!
Ascent doing these non-Uber pushes, it's working so well. It has worked on every single map for them, and this might just be the key to their success. If they can just keep on riding this, that could be the factor that just enables them to go and actually win this map. And you kind of saw it there perfectly. Just it was basically Drac going absolutely huge there, just bombing and getting the demo man down, and then hitting a perfect direct on a scout who cratered. So now they're up 1-0, and this is exactly what they need.
It looks like Ascent is one of these hype teams that works really well on momentum. Elako traps Starkey on Kitchen with a sticky trap, and now look at Se7en, they're already retreating. Only one of them has fallen at this moment, but they already went on the back foot. And Domo died as well to a bomb from Silentes. Elako tried to take space onto Grunt. He hits up, but he hits too far onto Thalash. And Raymond died as well from a bomb from Drac. That was such impressive showing of raw skill and individual talent here from Ascent.
Yeah, this aggression is working out so well for them. Captain's going to be the only survivor on 1 HP there. And unfortunately for Ascent, they were not able to completely own that, but they got the medic, they got a bunch of kills, and now they just need to wait for some V-spawners and then they can get in here. But, you know, this is kind of what Se7en's forte has been so far in this map, where they will slow down Ascent enough that they can just eventually retreat or maybe even force an Uber out of them. And Snakewater is a pretty difficult map to push off of. There's a lot of ground that you have to cover.
Starkey is trying to make a bomb effect going out, but he actually straight right back into the face of Silentes, but he got cleaned up. But that was probably enough to buy time for Se7en to go back to last and build their own Uber, because they already have 8. This is exactly that. Se7en is really good at delaying the pushes from Ascent and allowing Raymond to get the Uber when he has a disadvantage. And now maybe Ascent still believe they have the ad, but it looks like Ams is taking things more cautiously than he would have in another situation. And now the Ubers are going to be quite the same. Thalash is on the sniping rifle, and Thago is going to get his gun to level 3.
They're actually pushing over on this right side, trying to buy some space, and it looks like they're going to use that to just send in this roamer bomber. There's a sentry gun and everything. Is he going to get out? No way. Okay, yeah, no way. Silentus, he was in so deep. If he got out, it would have been a small miracle there. But yeah, at least they got perfect scouting information, right? They know there's a sentry gun, they know where everyone was, and there was a sniper as well. So they got that out of it.
Look at Thalash, he's trying to pick from underneath. Credu is watching, but if Thalash picks quickly enough, he will get a shot. But no, Ams is on the case. He's pulling the sniper back, and now Thalash probably will go back to the last I don't think he can hit that shot anymore. And now Talash is on spy. He's gonna check for off classes probably. Only Starkey was the one doing proactive spy plays for Se7en until now. Talash is back on sniping. And look at that gun on the crate, ready to deny any jumper from the left or the underside. And it's now a new puzzle to crack for Ascent.
Yeah, they spot the sentry gun though, that's really nice. So now they know where it is, so you can actually spam it out. I don't know if you can spam this from bottom. There does seem to be like a tiny little hole and sightline where you can actually hit the top of it. So that could be really nice. And they're definitely trying their best, but as soon as they open up that shutter door, they're going to get shot by it. I kind of feel like Ascent, they need to take down this sentry gun, and then they should probably just take a trade. And then when Ubers are not in the equation, they should just push on it.
Try to take space left side, but they don't really take the ground they need. The drag dives to a sticky from Domo. Captain lives on 11 HP, so that was close for him to die. And yeah, again, I like how Ascent does things now. They try things, they see what's working, what's not working, but they don't really commit too much because they know they have a lot of time to work with. Still 8 minutes on that last push, and they don't have to commit fully right now. They still have. This is nice to see that they're taking their sweet time. And even though it would mean breaking their momentum, sometimes slowing things down is probably your best outcome.
Yeah, Drax's gonna go and spy. I assume he's on the cloak and dagger. Can't quite. Yeah, he is. So that's definitely something that slows things down. And he spotted the last here, so nobody's gonna get sniped by him unless they decide to try and rush him or something. But we're definitely in it for the long haul here. You know, there's a sentry gun on last, and the perfect counter to that is, of course, the spy. But you want the medic. That's the real prize here for Drac. But the longer they wait, the more suspicious they will get, because Ascent so far, they've been pretty aggressive over on this left side. That's pretty open. And if Ascent start to not go for that, then I'm sure there's going to be some suspicion going on.
Drag decloaked under because put it right away. I don't really know what was the plan here. The bomb coming from Silentis gets Salash with the pickaxe, and but that's pretty much all they can get. And look at Tiger putting a cheeky teleporter, trying to get maybe a TP kill at some point. Captain is the only one from Se7en making his way into lobby, trying to see if he has an opening. He can't find it, and Drak is back on the soldier. He didn't seem really comfortable playing spy here because that uncloak was a bit iffy. And
yeah, the plan was definitely he sapped the sentry gun and then the soldier jumped in, right? And Se7en, they weren't really watching that right side that heavily because they had a sentry gun, so a soldier can't really bomb in. So what they did was they just said, oh, okay, we're just gonna sap the sentry gun and then have the soldier jump in and then hopefully get onto the medic. He didn't get the medic, but he actually got the scout kill. So a neat plan, I guess. Very much thinking outside of the box, but not quite successful.
I actually didn't see that coming, so I thought it was just a silly play from Drag, but apparently there were more depth to that. We can see also a little bit of banter in chat. That pretty ooh, juicy headshot from Talash onto Drag. But yeah, these players, they know each other so well. They pretty much all of them have played with each other at some point. I think on at least 2 players, maybe 3. Yeah, 3 players from Ascent have played in Se7en at some point. So a lot of. They know each other. They know they can afford to be a bit teasing in the chat. Definitely. And no, it's 5 minutes. The clock has been ticking a bit. 3 minutes down. Talash picking in sniper into lobby, trying to get Drak onto the cheese, but he can't really get it. And Credu is on his own sniping rifle, and it's gonna be another duel. And the only one we've seen so far was Talash won it with a fully charged body shot. So now Credu has some reputation to build up again.
Credu, he is currently buffed, and that's a good way to not get fully charged body shot. Looks like he's going to take some damage now, but at least the teleport is down, so you're not going to get clowned on by and end up in frag movies by dropping your medic to that. And yeah, I was right. You could actually hit that sentry gun from lower, but Captain is down there to help it out as well. I don't think the sentry gun actually shoots at you when you spam the sentry gun from lower. So if you can get some space from one, yeah, they're going to double spam it down there. And Tiger, he actually picks it up to save it, and that will buy some more time, and it doesn't even go down. But they do have eyes on it. Scout trying to take it down. It's so weak, but no, can't quite get it. And AMS, he was in pretty deep, and will eventually get taken down by a snipe there from the Flash.
That sentry lived on 1 HP or something similar, so that was quite the safe play here from Tiger. Talash trying to pick his way aggressively onto lobby. He got spotted right away. Didn't quite connect the shot onto Elacore, or was it Credu? But in the end, that's
an even situation right now. Credo is not really trying to make the hero play. Yeah, it feels like 4 minutes is still more than enough for him to try to make his way around that collapse hole before he goes for the crazy hero shot. But I wouldn't be surprised at some point to see him making his way through that left-hand side and try to go in. But who's making his way through the left-hand side? This is Drag, and he got spotted. He died. Credo died as well. I think Talash was aiming at Drag, but Credo picked at the wrong time in the wrong place and got picked up.
That's how good he is at sniper. He would just get perfect headshots even when he's aiming for someone else. You know, I wish I could do that. I can't even headshot standing still snipers when I'm actually trying to do it. Glash just does it by accident. He's got a really nice sight line right now up on that just like balcony. You can see everyone, and he was looking at Connor the entire time, just wishing that you could actually wallbang people in TF2, but that is not the case. So he will just look at him for a while and eventually retreat back to spawn to just get another angle here. And Cradle, he's just going to stick with the sniper, and it looks like he's going to go bottom here. And I mean, at least he can like full shots to shoot the sentry gun from lower, and that might be what they're going for here. Yeah.
They got the gun in Amps as well on the left side. Well, Captain was away trying to defend, and Amps gets 2 frag, gets to 2 shooters. Yes, he got picked up by a pipe from Domo, but the work is done here. Job's done for Amps. There's still no gun. It's 45 with the sentry, but Talash gets gone down.
Oh,
crazy shot from the Dane, completely nullifying that play. Credo is hiding behind the shed, but he gets cleaned up by Tiger. But that headshot from Talash was completely out of this world, and this is gonna allow Se7en to push out onto the second point. Tiger claims a frag onto Drag, and now Raymond is weak. He jukes the rocket. Silences was on its case, but the case is not completed.
Just eventually Se7en managed to clean this up, but man, that was such a clutch snipe. And then they just eventually go in there. Kratos did hit some headshots himself, and he's gonna just stick with sniper. I think Ascent is kind of going, we've had a lot of success with sniper, so let's just try to stick with that for a while. See Se7en, they're trying to get some space here, maybe to sneak in some players. We do have, I think it's Tiger. Yeah, he's definitely looking to see if he could get his way into kitchen, but he will eventually get spotted. So we're slowing down here, and Ascent, they do have this sniper advantage right now, which means that if things are just completely slow, eventually they're probably going to get some pick with that. But Drak goes down, and the Uber's just going to come in here from Se7en. They just dot pushed.
And the Conduct just has the Uber. He flashes on a lot of people, and Tiger is still behind. He hasn't been cleaned up. He gets headshot by Credo, nice play here, but Starkey gets a frag onto Amps because Conduct didn't really know where to look for, who to Uber. And now the Uber, the situation is gonna reset once more. Ubers are the same, but Se7en is trying to maybe look, yeah, they're making their way through the middle point, taking the high ground. The bomb is coming from Starkey and Domo. Elako is getting pushed back, but he's getting helped by his teammate. The double bomb from Silentes, and Drak claims a frag onto Starkey. And now with both Starkey and Captain dead, this is a freeway onto second point from Ascent. They're making their way onto Choke. Nice rocket from Drak onto Domo, gets cleaned up at the same time. And now this is going to be a bit tricky for Ascent, because the spawners are going to be better for Se7en if that fight lasts too long. And Amps disconnected with his medic. Captain bombing in as well. This is a matter of attrition, and at this little game, Tiger and Captain win it. Conduct is so weak, Conduct dies, and now this is also, it went so bad for Ascent. That little grinding play, Se7en is just better at it right now.
Yeah, I kind of like that Ascent went for it, because it is the kind of play that has worked for them on these maps. And it was pretty decent, but they just stayed in a little bit too long there. As soon as they started losing that fight, it was pretty bad, as we see literally every single person from Ascent was just in that spawn. Kratos on heavy there, but surely they expect it. Yeah, I think he expects them to expect it as well, so he's going to go back here. But Se7en, they're on a full Uber advantage, and they're already in.
Raymond uses his own Uber, the sentry gun is taken down, and now it's going to be about Se7en trying to maybe either play the pawn or get the frag. They're trying to play the pawn. Talash is already here, he has removed the stickies, he's getting contested by Drak. And Silentes Captain died as well to the heavy, and the heavy claims another frag. And they lose somehow the spawn because they didn't really manage to either take the frags, or that cap time was too slow enough so that Silentes got the read on that and just jump on Talash to contest it. And perfect hold for...
There's a back cap going on. Oh my god, Tiger goes in, he wins a 1v1 against Kradu, and he caps it out. That 1-to-1 there. Huge individual play from Tiger. Wow, that should not have worked, but it did.
I mean, at some point, if you want to win, you need your good players to step up. This is exactly what Tiger did here, and
Credo won't be happy about that situation. He doesn't like to lose one-on-one. I mean, who does? But that play from Tiger was enough. We're exactly midway through that map, and it's a perfect tie. It's a 1-1, third middle here. That the previous one went in favor of Ascent, if I believe correctly. And the bomb coming from Se7en. Get Domo quickly. Raymond is completely stuck here, close to Soul. Is getting picked off. Only Ams died. What a middle here for Ascent. Didn't leave any room, any chance to Se7en, and now it's only Starkey. He's on top. He's been spotted, or was he? It wasn't. Oh, gets here on the drag.
Is he gonna win against the other scout? Okay, no, but my god, what a shot. Yeah, once again, that was definitely a better mid there from Ascent. They took so much pressure, and they had basically everyone else on Se7en's side of the point so quickly. But Se7en, they're going to come out here. They're not going to give up the second for free. And Eloquo has actually overextended, and that might even be the case for Se7en as well. So yes, Ascent overextending a little bit here, getting over eager. So what was originally a mid win, that's definitely going to have to be something that they're going to give up now.
And it looks like Tiger and Talash have activated, both of them with a they have a really crazy individual play, with Talash with a headshot and Tiger with a one-on-one, and they're both just carrying Se7en up to that second point from Ascent. Uber is a pretty big ad for Raymond actually, so we've seen Se7en moving forward pretty quickly until now, so maybe they're gonna do that again, or maybe do they expect Conduct to have built his Uber as well as Raymond? We'll see that in a minute. Looks like they want to take their way into the right hand side, and they want to take that Uber route, I believe. Talash maybe he's trying to go into that Uber, but sticking right from it, Elaco completely blows up Domo, and that Uber looks so good, but in half a second, Elaco ruined it all. And now Ascent can hold properly and maybe set up a push out, because Domo died and Captain is still in the spawn.
Let this be a lesson to you kids. Always pop in time. Otherwise this can happen. But Tiger's actually run behind. Is he going to do it again? He's taking another one. Okay, this time around he will not be able to get behind here. And Ascent, they're already putting time at the point. But the soldier onto the medic. Pops him into the air. Nice surf. What a surf from Connor. He will survive. He's still weak, but he rides it out. Literally.
Yeah, he took his magic carpet and ride into thin air, so Captain Sarki wouldn't be able to hit him. So with that hold, with that milk, this is still an Uber for Conduct, but the ad is getting thinner after the seconds after seconds. Only 25% now. I do want to try to take it aggressively. They're just using that the respect of that Uber that the Uber charge gives them to take the middle without any contest. And Se7en, wisely enough, are just gonna reset on the second point, getting their own Uber and wait for Ascent to try and crush on their holds. Ubers are even low of classes, so this is the most 60 situation that you can see right now. And we're probably gonna see a choke play. I see the beam from Conduct going onto that grass area, and the Amps trying to make his way as well, removing the sticky so his team can follow up on him. The bomb from Sarki is coming as well. He's no hiding over choke, is living, and Ascent is taking so long now that their play is getting a bit too cold.
Yeah, you need to get in pretty early on, otherwise you're going to take a bunch of chip damage, and sending in 70 HP roamers, not exactly something good. And actually a nice rocket there from Stark. Gonna take down AMS. He was trying to make a play, and another nice rocket there onto Tiger, so the scouts are just eating some directs right now, and that's gonna make it so that neither team are able to get in here. Se7en, they still have a man advantage, but it's very difficult to actually make anything work of it. They need to buff up first, and eventually Ascent, they will just get the spawner, and we are back to square one here. But you can just tell that everyone is just looking for this opening, and Amos, he did go down, and he has this spike class that he really likes, but it looks like he changes his mind, and it will eventually just go back onto Scout, so they have other plans.
Yeah, oh, the air shot coming onto Se7en. He got completely juggled away. He managed to hit a rocket onto Raymond and basically followed him around into the air, but that wasn't enough to connect the other one, and Amps was just spying to see if there were any off classes into the side of Se7en, and he didn't see anyone. But the situation right now could be Stalash going back to spawn and trying to get sniper, because they're just going to be here forever. It's going to be really hard for them to break the hold from Ascent, unless two people sack into maybe Drac and Se7en, I'd say. And it looks like maybe another attempt will be made onto Choke. I see Elaco trying to spam maybe the scout so his soldier can jump in, but Stark is very aware of that situation. But the bomb from Se7en gets once more a rocket onto Raymond. And look at Amps, so all the way behind. I don't know if he's been spotted. I think he has been.
Yeah,
and
they definitely have.
And with him behind and two people dead, this is effectively a 6v3 for Se7en if they decide to push the middle point.
No, they have 3 players going back for AMS right now. So that's not the case at all. I don't know if Ascent realized this, but like Se7en, they're definitely being very slow right now. And it's only the demo man. It's literally just the demo man in right now, but somehow Domo doesn't.
Captain does, and Amps was behind, but he eventually got cleaned up. What can he do against 3 people? And now everybody in Se7en is kind of stuck in that soul room. The health isn't really good for Se7en, and if Ascent decides to boost on that, maybe they have the edge. Credu picked through that window trying to make something, but it looks like Ascent is going for the conservative play and they're gonna build their Uber again. But I like what Amps is doing. He's trying to make something happen. He's getting I mean, at this rate, the more the situation goes, the more is going to favor Se7en because they have a map advantage. They're 1 map ahead, so it's going to be more and more uncomfortable for Ascent as the time goes by, and they need to make something happen. They need a better trade, they need a better sack. I don't know what it's going to take, and Se7en got cleaned up in his attempt.
I definitely feel like that was an opportunity missed there for Se7en, just being 3 players back for AMS. They could have easily got middle there, but as it was, they were just a bit too slow, and they ended up just having way too few people on mid. It just looked like there was 1 guy there, so eventually Raymond just had to pop there to save him, and eventually it just didn't turn out too well for them, and they had to retreat here. So now we're back again where we were before. There's 6 minutes on the round clock, and there's 8 minutes remaining in this map. So we're beginning to approach the time where if you get a round, you can definitely park the bus and just completely suck out all the pace of this map. And looks like we have another skip jump through here. That's gonna be Drac. He tried his best, but he got bonked pretty bad and just slammed into the ground. And now it's gonna be Se7en. It's turned to
I don't know about you, Peter, but I can feel the tension is building up. The bomb from Starkey, he went at the speed of light into Soulroom, got 1 rocket after that pogo onto Conduct, but couldn't do much more again. Nice frag here from the scout, I think he was. And again, pretty much all we've seen so far is 1 guy sacking, not really succeeding in that, and then someone in the other team is answering with another sack, again, not really working. And now we can see Starkey in Spy. I wonder if he's gonna just check for off classes or actually going for a play. It looks like he's only watching for off classes. So it's gonna be once more a cookie cutter lineups for both teams. As I actually, are they standing still perfectly, or is that a pause?
I think this is just how it plays. So
That's why
we're
I'm
good
asking.
to go. Yeah. So like I wonder if they're actually gonna do something, because this is definitely not a pause. This is just normal TF2 stalematey. You know, that's how we do it in Europe. Captain, you know, you can see he's hiding behind this corner, and he kind of has this thing where if he just stands still enough, people won't notice him. Like EU TF2 players' vision is based mostly on movement. So by doing this, standing perfectly still, they're actually playing it really smart, and they're trying to lure them into a trap. But unfortunately for Se7en, Ascent, they know this trick as well, and they're trying to do the exact same thing.
So you say we are Tyrexes who can only spot our enemies because they move. Interesting theory. Maybe that's exactly what's happening right now. But yeah, how do you when you're Ascent, so you're one map down, it's a tie. It's gonna be really hard for you, Peter, to break that hole, because if you fail too hard and you get pushed back, it actually can get kind of disastrous.
I wouldn't worry about the whole we're down 1 map scenario. I feel like that almost doesn't matter. You just focus on this map in particular, and you know, you can still tie this map and then win the golden cap, because there is no such thing as a tie map in the playoffs. So you definitely just want to focus on this map and not worry about like, oh, this could be the final losing map for us. I think that's not the right thing to focus on. So if I was them, I would focus much more on trying to break this situation, get a good play in. And so far they've been doing a lot of sending in soldiers. So maybe they need to do something else. We did see before they would push in through grass and then actually send a scout in through lower. And that was pretty interesting way of doing it. And yeah, there's actually a lot of things. I don't know if we can actually get the analyst desk in here. I'm kind of curious to hear their thoughts on this. But I'm not sure if they're around right now, or if they're just busy doing something else and watching it in their own channel. But definitely see if we can get on that, because I kind of want to hear what they have to say.
We can try to have them coming. I don't know how long the pause. I don't know what is the why is there a pause if there's someone going. So we can actually try to go grab them. This is what I'm gonna do. So you have to feel for 5 seconds, Peter. I heard
never
people
mind.
moving. Forget this. Obviously, we had a plan, so they ruined our plan, and now it's gonna be a fight again. Drag died to some stickies. The bomb from Se7en, but he got juggled, and he missed his wall jump. So now it's 2 people dying, and this is one of the scenarios. Whoa! Elako gets a sticky drop to Raymond, gets the drop. I don't know if that was a blind one, but that was huge play from Elako.
Going massive here, but now they need to be careful here. There's still 1 man down, and you know Se7en, they're just hiding around every corner. They might not be invisible or anything, or vision might not be based on movement, but you still know that they're gonna just have their eyes just laser focused on Connor. So he's actually gonna make it out here through grass, and you can just see everyone, they're being so tentative and careful right now. And Stock, he tries to get in here, but so far everyone else has just been completely zoned out, and great push here from Ascent so far.
Tiger is already setting up his sentry gun on that crate, so Se7en, they are ready to hold that point just once more, but the Uber ad is coming. It's getting you, Tiger's out, there's no gun, no dispenser as well. This is a crucial pick to get the Das building. Starkey died as well. This is just the mid grinders, only Domo, Raymond, and a heavy, and Raymond now, only Talash and Raymond. But Talash is gonna get peppered down, he's on the point, he's getting shot by Hams, and this is a round, and that play from Elako just to unlock everything, and now it's gonna be to Se7en to run after the score, because if this is a map, we're gonna go to a 5th map, Peter.
Fifth map. I hope not sick of Tier 2 yet, because I am not. This is such a blast so far. This is an amazing game. And Ascent, they just brought it up 2-1. They have a chance to topple an empire, and they are taking that chance so far. Se7en, they are on the ropes right now. They still have 5.5 minutes or something like that to come back in this game. So it is anyone's game, but first they need to win a mid.
The bomb is coming from Starkey, just landed onto Drac, or that was Elako actually, and Ams dies as well. This is complete crumble here for Ams and the rest of his teammates. Now it's only Kondok against 3 people, he obviously dies, and this all went bad in a matter of couple seconds, because now Ascent took the lead, and now Se7en is such in a good position, such a dominant position to take another round, to make it a tie once more. They have the full Uberrad, there's still no heals, only 3 players. Ams is on heavy, he's gonna die surely soon enough. Yeah, he dies as well, and now it's only about playing the point with nice rocket here from Se7en, cleaning the frag onto Tiger, and the stickies from Elako preventing maybe Talash from capping, but no, Talash eventually he got splashed before capping, but in the end that was just to save his life. And extremely speed round, running at extreme high speed.
That is how you make your glorious comeback, that's for sure. You don't waste any time. That was basically a minute round there for Se7en. Just completely bulldozing Ascent on that middle, chasing down the medic, killing him super late, so there weren't even proper heals or even everyone up on an Ascent side, and that was just basically a round 1 on mid there for Se7en.
That must be soul crushing here for Ascent. The bomb again from Starkey onto 2 scats. He doesn't get nice rocket from Captain. Clean up Credo in the blink of an eye, and Kodok is getting chased. Captain once more, claiming the middle. Completely all alone, he got 3 frags here, and he got the most important ones. Now it's only Raymond and Tiger though against 2 players, Drac and Nams. They need to coordinate in order to get Raymond. Raymond is near the small house. The bomb is coming. One rocket, Raymond surfs away onto Catwalk. Ams gets back onto Tiger, can he claim? Another one onto Raymond. No, Stark is here. Can cap Ams? That's crazy what he's doing. He almost got Raymond.
Yeah, that was insane, but it was also maybe a bit too brave there as well by MS, just no fear, just jumping into everyone, and he got that scout. I think he did like 270 damage to Tiger there. That is not easy. If you have ever played a scout, you know that is borderline impossible. But Se7en, they're going to be left with another Uber advantage. This is not as bad as it was in this last round, but Drag tries to come in here and see if he can get a play, but he kind of misses his jump. So he's going to be all the way back on last. But Se7en, they need to be really quick here if they want to not get kited here. Connor's on 75%. And if Se7en are not fast, they will just not be able to get him in time.
They got the Uber before even using another playing point already. There's no stickies anymore, but double bomb from Drac and Se7en onto that cap from Kondok died! He was so close to getting the Uber, and now it's just a 3v4, but no heals onto the side of the Sen. The Credo, the heavy died, and now it's only Elako and Ams. Can they claim 2 frags? They're all weak, everybody's weak. Domo is only 15 HP. Can Ams focus him down? He can't get him down, and no Raymond's gonna get away.
with Domo. Talash got killed, but
That was
That-
still an amazing last hold coming out from Ascent. They really nailed that. Just the fact that they were able to actually fight Se7en there with a medic disadvantage at the very end was extremely impressive. But of course, Raymond did manage to escape. So Ascent, while they didn't lose the round immediately, they still have to endure another uber advantage push. And we just saw Connor there getting caught out. And it's so soul crushing that when you die with like 90+% uber, and that just happened. So now it's going to be a second round here.
they're going in to shut it down. The Uber is being used onto Domo, who's going extremely aggressive. He's getting shut down by the sentry gun. The sentry gun is still up, can still deny anything. Silentes launched into the air. The cap time is so forward already because of Talash. But Talash died too heavy, and now the hold is going in favor of the Ascent. Domo launched as well. Elako killed him with a sticky. It's only Starkey up into that last. He has to go back. Everyone else in his team is already far back onto that second point. Ascent, they hold.
They hold it, but do they actually have the gall to try and push on this? We're kind of nearing the point where it's very difficult to actually go all the way back onto last, so they might just elect to just hold here on their own. That looks to be the case here. It's a bit unfortunate that is indeed the case. It's so difficult to actually push all the way, so they're just going to have to hold in and another Uber and another V-push here. And that's exactly what we have to deal with here. So Se7en, they're going to be pushing in. It will be an even Uber situation, and this is a much more holdable situation for Ascent, but you never know with Se7en.
And the Uber is being traded on the right side. I'm boarding right now because this is too much for me to handle. The sentry gun is being taken down. Silente is dead as well. And now
On the
Se7en
point.
is trying to make way onto the right side. There's so much cap time already. If Se7en gets it, this is the win. They're almost getting Credo in the corner. Se7en takes it. This is it. Se7en takes the series after a hell of a map. And Se7en are once more the champion of ETF2L.
Clutching it out at the very end there. Unbelievably well played by them. It was so weird there because Ascent, they held off against two Uber advantage pushes, and then when it was even Uber, they just didn't manage to hold it properly. Badlands once again just managed to sneak in onto the point, put so much pressure on it, and that just pulled everyone else out of position. And eventually Se7en just managed to clutch it there and cap it out. So this was the final map that it was everything I expected it to be. Close, tense, back and forth. I thought Ascent looked like they were going to win it, but eventually Se7en, they just managed to come back. Unbelievably good game, but once again Se7en, they managed to win it, and big congratulations to them.
They can't be beaten. They're just too good. Too good. That's crazy. This series was really, really intense. I can't imagine how Ascent must be disappointed right now because at some point it looked like they had it, but no. Se7en is just, they're so good. They're so experienced. They know exactly what it takes to win Prem, and they did it again. And that last game, that's so soul crushing for Ascent because they managed to make it 2-1 with that drop from Elacor to Raymond, and then 1 minute later, if imagine you see Ascent get the round, you go get a glass of drink, you come back and it's 2-2 because Se7en is just too quick, and then you hold forever, you hold your last point with Uber DSAD, and in the end, eventually when the Ubers are even, this is just where you lose 20 seconds before the end. So that was a hell of a scenario here, and that was such a good finals.
Yeah, let's bring it in for some hot takes on our analyst table there. See if they have anything to add to this absolutely amazing finish to an amazing series to an amazing season.
What a final. Like, just in general, what a final game. That was absolutely amazing. So close, 3-2, just at the last second, Se7en. But I was saying when I saw the little step in the STV showing that it was the end of the game, I thought it was going to go to a cap, but Se7en just managed to win out that last point at the last second. And congratulations, they are the ETF2L Season 31 Grand Finalists. So that was amazing.
Champions, not Grand Finalists, Grumpy. They are the champions.
Yeah, they're champions. Grand Finalists. But it won the final. It doesn't really matter how I word it. It doesn't change the facts. They won it really well. Dom, what's your take on that?
That was a hell of a series, about as good as I hoped it would be, and Snakewater in general was really, really close. It was really slow, I expected as much. I was impressed with how Ascent started playing, especially in the mid fights. They had a lot of control, but it just shows that Se7en is just able to lead to the mid fights were going better later on. for the most part, they made their homework on the last push. I mentioned just as the game was about to end with the close repush that I mentioned that the hold they did is something that AMS was really happy with, that worked out really well in the past for them. But they just were a bit too clean. Yet again, it happened last game where they did this hold on the right side, which you never normally see on high-level play with the sentry and everything. And it denied the Uber really, really well. But they made the mistake of still wanting to commit the Uber to it, to chase people, but chased way too much, which left the left side hugely open. And yeah, Flash just walked over, still dragged everybody back and just made it the 3-2 scoreline we have now. I could probably talk about that last minute forever, especially because I love this really stupid but really well-working hold. But Ascent always messes up some tiny thing about it. So Se7en just gets away with stuff they really shouldn't, and in this case, they just had rotation just in time. Connor used the Eber when he maybe didn't need to, or at least should have gone about it differently, and just small things like that added up.
Yeah, it was an absolutely amazing finish, and it ended up with 3 maps to 1, 4-7. I thought Ascent started off this map incredibly well, and they seemed like they were kind of in control. I felt they were doing pretty well in many ways, and Se7en have admitted many a times that this is their one of their weaker maps. They really struggle with that last push, but like you mentioned, the little mistakes here and there are really what kind of put the final nail in the coffin for the Ascent boys. But Ombrack, Bido, have you got any closing statements, or shall we go into the interview? Because that's what I want to do. I don't want to look at the logs. I want to get the feelings from the gentleman.
No, that was nuts. So, Erakor is cursed.
Let's talk to the players. I just want to congratulate them. Let's get them all in here. So we have in this mumble now, we have AMS, we have Drac, and we have T8 scouts from Se7en. So I will just start out by saying big congratulations to Tiger and Talash. Was it Tiger and Talash? Who knows? the mystery will someday be solved. But big congratulations, guys.
Do I?
All right, and then of course commiserations to Drac and AMS. How are you guys feeling after that amazing series?
I'm sad.
Fair enough.
I feel alright. I feel like we had a very good game and it was a good showing. It was fun to watch and it was good.
All right, so let's talk our way through these maps. So we started out on Badlands, and that ended 4-2, and that looked like a pretty back and forth game with Se7en being somewhat in control. So, well, what do you think? What went wrong for you guys, AMS, on the first map there?
I think, in my personal opinion, I think we played into their hands a little bit. I think because it was such a high pressure game, we were playing a lot more careful than usual, and I think it suited them better. I think they were playing like really well regardless. Like, we got some good stuff done, but yeah, I think ultimately just the flow of the game kind of favored them, if you get what I mean.
Sure. And talking about playing well, Drac, you actually had a really good game as Soldier on Viaduct, if I remember correctly, and you actually ended up winning that game. So what turned around there?
We just had like heavy focus on the soldiers, and Credo just popped off. Like Credo just carried us that game basically.
Yeah, we really struggled to play against the sniper. Like we tried to focus him so hard, like the soldier bombs, but Stark was literally getting headshot before he could even jump. So not much you can really do. Even if we won the fights, or we're winning the fights on the point, if Credo's still alive, it's difficult to fight. But they were close rounds anyway, but I just think, he got the picks he needed to when he needed to.
Yeah, could have got like 3 or 4 like really crucial like picks on Domo, or just like denying our aggression with us Ollies like pretty much at the right times, which kind of like lost us the round in the end. Because like I feel like the timer, I don't really remember, but it was all like sub 30 seconds on the rounds for us when we lost, or even closer. But yeah, Credo definitely won them that map. I think we really struggled against playing against the sniper that was hitting shots. It's not something we've really done too much. Like, they brought it out once when we played them in the upper bracket final, but it was just the last round, and I think when you're up like 2-0 or 2-1, then it's easier to sort of control it.
And there's also that
weird thing that happened on product for you guys from Se7en, where Raymond used his Uber on both you, Tiger, and Talash, and that prevents you from capping the points. What happened? Was it like miscommunication, or you just didn't realize the time was so close?
When was this? Sorry.
I think that was the end of the second round where Raymond uses it on both of you, and that prevents you from capping. And then Ascent wins the round because both of you are Ubered on the point.
Yeah, we didn't have the cleanest entry, and we were waiting for spawners as like our initial cap time on the point was going down. So we had to pop early. I was calling to take the Uber off me, but it just like Raymond, I think he was doing it, but it just took too long. Like the half-second flash was like too much. But I was like, yeah, take the Uber off me, take the Uber off me. There was nothing you could really do because if I don't get the Uber to actually get like an entry onto the point, I just die. So it was just we just didn't have the time.
Okay, and then going so Amps, I talked to Elecor a bit before the game, and he mentioned how even though Se7en didn't have a map advantage, the map pick advantage was really huge for them because you basically played in two of their maps first. Did you expect it to be a tie after the first two maps and going into Gullywash, or did you expect to have to go up 2-0 difference already?
I didn't really expect anything.
Okay.
I was okay with the maps they chose. I thought they were okay maps for us. Like we got rid of Sunshine, which I guess is not a great map for us. I don't think the maps were like particularly favoring them that much. I think, yeah, we just got outplayed.
I think people overestimate the importance of maps in TF2 a bit too much.
Yeah.
Like I really don't feel like picking the first two maps in the best of 5 has a big advantage. Like I think if anything, I think we should go back to like the one map advantage because I mean, getting to pick the first two maps in a best of 5 after finishing first in the regular season and winning your playoff like games and stuff, it's really not that big of a deal.
I think the way we play as well, like because as an Ascent are quite similar teams in the way like we like certain maps. So I think Gully would have definitely been in the first 3, and I think maybe they would have banned Badlands, but that's that I guess that's one advantage we had. But I think overall we're pretty close in like what maps we like, so it doesn't make that big of a difference.
TurboTap's just rolling in his grave right now. He always thought maps were important, but yeah,
I mean, they are to a certain extent. But I think against like this specific matchup is
it's not that big of a deal.
It matters the least. Like
I think we're both comfortable on we're both comfortable in just like the way that we play the maps rather than the maps themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think if we played like I don't know, say Feint for example, because we know they've got Kunu, that's probably Product would be the map you're not comfortable playing, so you'd ban that. But when we've both played Product together, and last time Cuddy didn't really pop off, and then this time he does, it's what can you do? You can't predict that every single time.
Sure. Let's talk about the last map now, because that was one hell of a roller coaster. It was just back and forth the entire time. Was that as stressful playing for you as it was for us watching it?
Yeah. I mean, being on your last for like 7 minutes to start off with, or however long it was, kind of doesn't set like a good scene. Like if you lose that, like I don't remember how we managed to push out. I think I dropped Connor. But if that doesn't happen, they just have a free shot at the push, and then we have another mid fight, and especially versus Ascent, we really struggle in mids. Like Badlands is like the only map where we're comfortable in the mids. Like most of the time, I feel like we get rolled. So that's like a huge part. Having to you lose the first mid, you're back in your last, and then you have to play another like fight straight away if they manage to get that round. But we took a pause to sort of talk about our mids, and we
You absolutely destroyed us after that.
Yeah,
it was literally 6-0, right?
Yeah, I mean it was pretty funny because it's like
it's something we've been talking about but not done before.
Yeah, we put like a lot of effort into like this mid. I used to do it in full tilt, which is sort of why I thought about doing it against this team, because of the way like they'd like to do their solid bombs. You can deny it, but we haven't tried it in practice before, so we just sort of brought it out while we were down like 2-1, I think, and ended up like getting a round of it in a few minutes. So same thing with like our last push towards the end of Snake. It was also something we hadn't actually done in practice, but just talked about, and it worked probably as good as it could.
All right, so I guess this is a good time to mention that the season was sponsored by STN Trading and Copenhagen Games, and the first prize was tickets and rentals to Copenhagen Games. So all those 7 will be secured places there. So are we going to see this exact 7 team at Copenhagen Games? Or will it be a Domo's car?
We're playing with Cadus at LAN, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Domo. I mean, I think.
Poor
a
Domo.
huge shout out. No, for real, huge shout out to Domo. I think it's crazy how he just kind of like
Joined
got
the
thrown
team
in.
and
Yeah, he got thrown in the
fucking
team
wins
and
the
actually
first
played
season.
really well, especially
Yeah.
because the way we've sort of
He
integrated him in
has
the team
been
hasn't
thrown
been well.
under the bus, basically. You know, he's probably got the biggest role to fill because obviously Cadus is the main caller. So I think big shout out to Thelash for learning how to main call. Even though he has a good general idea how Cadus likes to do it, but it's still a big thing to do as well. Still play Scout. I can't fucking call and play Scout at the same time. That's why I don't play Pocket Scout. But yeah, Domo's fucking been nuts all season.
I think a big, just to, I guess, big him up a bit more, it's like we didn't do a very good job of integrating him in the team. The way the season sort of started out with us was, all right, we're going to get the boys together and we're going to, take it easy, play a couple of nights a week, but then, oh shit, Cadus can't play. Now we actually need to, put a bit more effort into it. But I don't actually think we ever did that. Domo was kind of just like told on the fly what we like to do. We didn't actually, the first up until playoffs, I think we never actually really sat down with him and kind of filled him in properly. He just kind of, he did a really good job adapting throughout the season. And then I guess in the playoffs we filled him in a bit more. But yeah, huge shout out to Domo. He was nuts.
Yeah, I think I recall hearing something about Elecor not being able to make Copenhagen Games either. So maybe there's an open spot on that. Is that correct?
Sorry,
Yeah.
what? Say.
Is there an open spot on the Ascent team for a demo man?
Yeah, I think we're actually getting Domo. Maybe Eames, we're not sure yet, but we're gonna need a demo.
What the hell?
Right, where's Elicor?
He's going to Scotland or something.
Yeah.
So he's not able to attend, and he's gonna have a really bad laptop or something. So I don't think he's gonna play next season with us either.
Okay, I think
Unlucky.
do Dom or Grumpy have anything more to add to any questions maybe that we haven't thought about?
I don't think I think you guys covered everything really well. So I'm just glad to hear that there's a future for the teams going into LAN as well, especially, and that already sounds like good competition for the next season. So only looking forward.
All I want to say is, obviously, congratulations to yourself, Se7en, Thelash and Tiger, but actually, huge congratulations to the Ascent boys. This is your first season together, and I know you said you're looking at well, obviously, you're losing Elicor, so you're going to have Domo. You're planning to have Domo pick up the reins, but you've done really well for your first season as a team. Like, you're a freshly formed team on your first season, and you've done really well, and you got as far as I expected you guys to get, and you've done amazing. So, definitely, I can't wait to see both teams playing in future seasons, and especially at Copenhagen Games, where it's going to be an absolute blast. That's all I had to say.
Yeah, that's why I'm happy with how we performed this season. I'm really happy, and it's really good playing with the team. It was really good fun the whole time.
I love you, Drake.
Love you too, bro.
Love you, Drake.
Love you, Thelash.
Did you guys love the map pool then? Or should we look to maybe add another map in there?
No,
it's fine.
this is the best one we've had ever.
Yeah, leave the maps as they are.
I want Reckoner back.
Fuck no.
It's fine. You're allowed to be wrong.
I'm always wrong, man. It's just something I've come to expect.
All right, let's get some shout-outs in, and then we can go party in the streets. So, AMS, go get your shout-outs.
Yeah, shout out to my team for an incredible season. I'm really proud of what we accomplished in our first season, and I'm looking forward to going to LAN with these guys. We're gonna fucking pound. Sorry for swearing. Hats off to Se7en. Good game. Respect. Well done. You guys deserve it. And thanks to everybody who did coverage this season. It's been a really fun season to watch and play in. So that's it. Thank you.
Great.
Yep. Shout out to Ascent the team and Ascent the sponsor for helping us out. Shout out to Se7en for the nice games, and shout out to MidnightMeg.
And Tiger.
Shout out to Se7en and Domo especially for slamming the season. Shout out to Ascent. They really good actually. I didn't think they'd be as good as they were. Not being cocky, but you know. Shout out to the casters as well because I believe it is a very good cast, and I'll be watching this again. And that's about it.
And finally, Flash.
Yeah, it's been said pretty much. Like, shout out to my team, Domo especially, for stepping in and doing a good job. And thanks to Cadus for helping out even whenever he could. It's always nice to have like another perspective on the games. Yeah, thanks to Ascent. GGs, it was fun. And see you at LAN.
See you at LAN.
Yep, we will see all you nerds at LAN. So I guess there's just the only shout outs for us to all take care of. So obviously we had Gemm on production. He was doing a great job all throughout the night. It's been a long day, but he just stood through there the entire time. Also shout out to eepily, who was here with us for a short time before his internet decided that he should not be part of this final cast. But we enjoyed his company while it lasted. And then of course we had GrumpyKoi and DmMmTm on Analysts. With a little round table. That was super nice. Wish we could kind of do that more often, but as it was kind of special to have for the final, so that was cool. And then of course Ombrack casting with me, always a pleasure. And do you have any last words before we leave for into the night and call it season 31 a wrap?
I want to shout out Elakoro, who thought he could win without me. He always loses, whether I'm here or not. And shout out to Conduct for not winning, so I can still make fun of him.
And I think with that cheap shot at Connor, we are out for season 31. We will be back for season 32. We will be back for season, I don't know, Copenhagen Games.
Infinity. We're just going to keep going until all of us pass away.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. TF2 forever. It will never die.
Also, shout out to Midnight Mick. I just want to do that myself because he's a legend.
Yeah, Denmark winner. Good night.
Thank you.